also available. Roberts Funeral Homes. Great funeral homes serve great people.
Forget the year-end sales. You may not have the time. Head to Ford Lincoln of Ocala for their gigantic end-of-the-world sale. If you're the one who believes the end of the world will happen on December 21st, wouldn't it be nice to go out in style? Forget about MPGs. Live large, baby. Roll the dice. It's all about you, comfort, and luxury without paying a dime. Buy any new Ford on the lot because there may not be time to order before December 21st. And if the 22nd never rolls around, well, you know, you won't owe a dime. In all fairness, let's say you do wake up on the 22nd. Ford Lincoln of Ocala says enjoy your new vehicle. Take 90 days to make your first payment and count your lucky stars you get to enjoy your new Ford. Visit Ford Lincoln of Ocala before the 21st of December because it would be a shame to have all these beautiful new Fords and the incredible savings go to waste. Or stay at home and shop FordofOcala.com, but keep your eye on the sky. 90-day payment deferment added at the end of the loan. See dealer for details.
This is Galen Unold, and on behalf of all of us at Life South Community Blood Centers, we hope that all of your winter wishes come true this holiday season. Merry Christmas.
Hello? Can you hear me? Because if you can, then so can your customers. Radio works. Call today to advertise your business right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
This is JJ LaSalle in the WOCA studios with this news update brought to you by the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency. Confronted with a revolt among the rank-and-file House Republicans abruptly scrapped a vote Thursday night on legislation allowing tax rates to rise for households earning $1 million and up, complicating attempts to avoid a year-end fiscal cliff. The legislation did not have sufficient support from our members to pass, Speaker John Boehner conceded in a brief statement. This news update was brought to you by the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency. Join Angie every Thursday as she joins Buddy with her Biz Buzz or Good Neighbor Award.
You know, and everyone you meet. Ho, ho, the mistletoe hung where you can see.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's Trinity Gazette Day here at the Gateway Bank, and we do not have a football pool. We don't have our Pick Six contest today. Mary Ewers will be very disappointed that we didn't have it, but we took a week off because of the holidays. Everybody can catch their breath and resume next week. I'm even going to come back off my vacation next week to make sure I maintain my lead, and I'll be making my picks even though I won't be here. So, and now I welcome to these microphones Randy Ewers from Maryville, Ocala. Star of the show, the Nutcracker. No, he's not the star.
Nowhere near a star.
Now, he's certainly a very big part of it, as is his family. And Randy, first of all, Merry Christmas and welcome back to the show.
Merry Christmas to you too. Good to be back. As you can tell, I've been busy the past couple of weeks and haven't been able to get my picks because we've been working on the Nutcracker.
I knew that, and I knew you were hard to get on the phone because I knew why. Tom said he's probably not going to be available. I said it's going to be hard, but I'm going to keep trying to get him on the phone. So thanks for coming aboard today. And before we get into the Nutcracker and talk about it, which I want to do, let me correct myself by saying it's not currently playing at the Civic Theater. It's over now. It's a 2-weekend run. It's over. We'll get into that specifically. Let's talk about the news of the day. Let's talk about, I'm sure you've been following all the stuff about, obviously, gun control, what happened in Connecticut, and you have some children and schools, what have you. There's a lot of discussion out there right now about what might be done in the future regarding guns. They're part of our culture. Everybody obviously, understands the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. I don't think anybody questions that, certainly. But there is a lot of debate about what kind of weapons that people should have, and why would someone have to have a semi-automatic rifle that with an endless amount of bullets, and which is basically made for killing mass amounts of people.
Right.
I know you were formerly head of the police department, and you've had discussions. What is your take on all that thing about gun control and guns? And now today, the NRA says every school should have armed guards. What's your thing about that?
Well, what I'd hate to see is just kind of a knee-jerk reaction to this instance, which was horrible. I mean, I couldn't imagine being a parent and the kids are at school and they're thinking about Santa Claus and Christmas and all these things, and to get a call and to find out about this is just absolutely horrible as a parent. I mean, I can't go imagine that, but just to start just jumping to conclusions when you need to understand the situation a little bit more, as far as what needs to be put in place, or how can we protect our kids even more, because you can start to get this expanding even farther. Do we need to put armed guards at the malls? Do we need to put armed guards at the libraries, or wherever we have innocent people standing around that could become a victim of this? And so more thought, I think, needs to be put in. So at least the conversations are happening. So I think people need to have these conversations, talk about it. How do you protect the most innocent people from such a heinous crime?
I agree, and I think that's conversation has started, and there's a lot of it going on right now, and I hopefully we can come to grips with something here that will help us prevent future situations like we had up in Sandy Hook, which is horrible, as we all know.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about the Nutcracker.
The Nutcracker, yep.
First of all, how did you get involved with the Nutcracker?
Well, my daughters have been dancing for quite a few years, Savannah for almost 10 years, I believe, and Sophia for about 8 years. And they dance at G.D. Benson Smith Academy, but they also try out and become part of the Marion Ballet Theater, which is the Marion Ballet Theater is the company that puts on this show. So I've been involved for that for almost 7-8 years now. And it's a fun thing. The kids enjoy performing, and I think they do a great job. And then, but a lot of work has to go and help that production go in place. There's a lot of parents who do a lot of different things to help that production go on. So that's how I get involved. I enjoy it because I get to spend time with the kids doing things. They're up there, so I might as well be up there too, and I get to help out in different ways.
Yeah, I was amazed at what amount of work it must go on. When did they start rehearsing?
They start rehearsing usually, like the company will have tryouts for it coming up here in January, but they'll also do a spring show, and then they'll have the tryouts for their parts in the Nutcracker in the fall around August, just after they get back from school. And then once they find out their parts, which is usually like a couple days later, they'll start practicing on the weekends, and sometimes during the week they'll have practice as well. I know Savannah had practices on Wednesday nights and Saturdays pretty much from September up till the show. And so there's a lot of practice that goes on.
That's apparent. I had not ever seen the Nutcracker. I mean, I've seen scenes from it. I might have even seen the movie. I don't remember at some point, but I've never seen a live performance of it.
Right.
And didn't quite know what to expect. I knew there was obviously ballerinas, there was dancing, and there were choreography and whatever. For people who have never seen it, there's no dialogue in it,
right,
at all. It's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of kids.
Yes.
Now, if you've ever coached kids' teams or whatever, you know how hard it is to get them lined up in a position. But to get kids lined up in these intricate moves on stage, all doing these moving parts, it's phenomenal how that's done. And I'm sorry that Nicole Smith couldn't be here, Benson couldn't be here today, because she's a director, and what a phenomenal job she must have done, because I virtually saw, what would I know? Looked like to me it was pretty much a flawless deal going on there. There was very few mistakes. Kids drop things, and people would scramble out and get them, but there was no missteps, no bumping, no falling, no being out of place. Everybody just moved pretty much like clockwork. I thought, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, well, a lot of kids have been doing this for many years, but they'll progress in their parts where they may have a role from a smaller child up to the some of the more premier dancers and the soloist type. So they've been doing this for a lot. So a lot of them know the routine pretty well, although each year Nicole usually changes something. So there's a couple changes, different things in there. So from year to year, you're going to see a little bit different show. You'll see the basic premise is always the same as far as the party scene and the battle, but then when you go to the second act, that's usually some variations or some different things, the sequences, but she's always trying to change it up and so keep it fresh.
Yeah, and speaking of fresh, you had a gingerbread house this year, which is new, and the person on top of that gingerbread house was holding on for dear life a couple of times. It's pretty tall too, so that was a little perilous at one point, but he pulled it off with no problem. What is your character? I know you're dressed in long tails. You're one of the dads and whatever. Did you come out in stilts or something? Who was that on?
In the first of the party scene, I come out. I've been a parent in the party scene.
Yeah, I know the opening scene and you're standing there. I knew it. But tails on or something. And
yep, Victorian era type suit type. But then like second act, sometimes if we don't have enough people to play, there's a couple stilt walkers in the end. And I've gotten up there a couple times. It's a pretty scary event for myself. That's a long way to fall.
Well, here was my take on it. As I said to you earlier, I go and my Laurie bought us tickets, and my son Brendan happened to be in town, and my grandson's 5. It's his first trip to the theater. But we're sitting there watching it, and at the opening scene, I know the Christmas scene. I'm looking at all these people, and I see a lot of kids, a lot of small kids. I mean, small kids. And I'm seeing a lot of movement and dancing and running around. Thought, okay, is this going to be like elementary school kids the whole night doing the dancing? Because this is not what I thought this was, you know. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. I think I'm not really necessarily up for that, but if that's what it is, I'm going to see how it works out. Well, then, as the play progresses and the scenes change, and there are a lot of changes in scenery, right? Boom, 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 boom. And then you get the little older kids, and you get the teenage ballerinas, the other ballerinas who were very good.
Yes.
And then it begins to pick up a little bit. I'm not a critic here, I'm just saying. And then, of course, there's a lead, you know, and the people who played the lead was quite good, I thought. They're local people, local actors, too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, most of the dancers are local. We did bring in one professional for, I think, the Sugar Plum part, but all those kids.
Willie Williams is from here, right here in.
Willie's from here. He's been
Westport High School.
Yep.
Phil Lanchetta, he's an FSU guy. He might be the guy that brought in. Was he brought in?
Yes, and he's coming. He's danced this a couple of years with the company.
And of course the costumes and Nicole Benson. But it was quite an interesting evening, and so it's only 2 weekends a year. All that rehearsing for 2 weekends, man.
Well, it's we do. I think we did 12 shows this year. They ended up adding 2 shows for the kids, so it's a lot of shows when you've got about a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
a lot of practices. So
it is.
By the time you're done with it, you're ready for it to be done because
I'll bet
you're flat worn out.
Especially when you have to go take your kids out to every Thursday and Friday, whatever, Wednesday, Thursday nights all the time. It's like a football team training for a football season with 2 games. Or 4 games.
You condense the season into 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a civic theater. Well, good job. Well done. And,
appreciate it.
Why don't you hang for a minute, and then I'm going to get this character on over here, and we're going to talk about Ocala Christmases. That would be August Griner Jr. And since I want to talk about Ocala Christmases and how they're different to you, and then again, any special traditional things that your family does that you think other families don't do. Now, that we can share. Now, some things that Tom Ingram did, he couldn't share. He just said, I can't go on the right. But things that you can share, and we'll get Augie Grander's Jr. take with that. We'll talk a little bit about what an Ocala Christmas is as well. So hang on for a second. Mirror yours. We'll be back after this timeout on the Voice of Ocala. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. Hey, if you missed the show for the past couple of days, go to YouTube, type in WOCA, click on the WOCA logo, and there are the past shows of the Voice of Ocala and Buddy's Saturday Sports page for your viewing pleasure. Brought to you by The Source.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day. Whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands, at Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And State Farm agent Angie Lewis is always there too, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. At the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency, they go far beyond any slogan. Angie wants to help you adjust your insurance needs as your life evolves, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. They want to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. Each week on The Voice of Ocala, they feature a Good Neighbor of the Week, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. They're also big sports fans and sponsor our weekly State Farm State of the State report, which highlights a different college sports program each week. The Angie Lewis Agency of Ocala is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Call your good neighbor State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 291-2444.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, it's the Christmas Eve special. We have a special guest coming in. He is Robert Stenterford Sr., and he's a songwriter from Ocala. He's written a song called Santa's on His Sleigh again, and we'll play it for you and hear his story.
Open for debate, where both sides of one issue will be discussed.
And then attorney Eric Lieberman will be with us. He's with the Regulatory Council for the Food Marketing Institute. He's going to tell us how part of the Obamacare regulations will force grocery stores to put up calorie menu boards.
Denise Burrito is a political junkie and the founder of Relationships Matter Now. She's written a book called From Here to There, 5 Steps to Doing Your Life's Work Every Day.
And then it's Auto Repair with Personal Care with your host, Matt Gibbs, owner of Sunrise Automotive.
Dee Taylor is a cable television show host and a Bible teacher. She's written a book called A Walk to the Other Side. You can know what dying will be like.
Artist David Bowman will be with us. He's a Christian artist and a caricaturist, and he's going to talk to us about his art series titled Expressions of Christ, all on the Christmas Eve special right here on The Source, WOC.
In Clark, we trust.
Hi, this is Clark Howard. Join me every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
Hello, this is Dr. Riyad Fakuri, chiropractic orthopedist at the Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic Center. Listen in to the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. right here on WOCA. Learn how your body works so that you can help yourself. We're available to answer your questions every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on WOCA, The Source. That's Dr. Riyad Fakuri on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Happy holidays from all of us at WOCA. WOCA.
All right, welcome back to the program. Joined now by Augie Grana Jr. along with Randy Ewers. And guys, we got about 3 or 4 minutes, but I wanted to get both of you together here because the topic being A, what did you do in your family and for Christmas traditions that you think others might not have done? And then what is an Ocala Christmas to you? Who wants to start?
Okay. Well, one of the things that we do is, and but probably my families do it, is we let the kids open a present up, usually Christmas Eve, so we kind of get a kick.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah. That's to keep them a little calm, calm them down a little bit.
So we get them to go to bed, and then, maybe usually they'll sleep in a little bit the next morning, so before they come down and get going. But as girls get older, they're trying to sleep in a little more. But that's one of the things we like to do.
Yeah. And you have up in the morning and bright and early, and you have food with what you're opening, or do you wait and eat later, or what do you do?
Well, a good friend started with the Christmas cake, and he moved out of town for a little bit, so I had to kind of take that over.
Oh, you're doing a Christmas cake?
Well, it's a little Christmas cake. And,
what is that? What kind of Christmas cake is that?
It's like a monkey bread, and so that's now our new tradition. Is I do that.
There you go.
So the kids look forward to that.
The Merry Year's monkey bread. Oh, there you go.
But that came from a good friend who's back in town now. So,
well, good. Augie, I know you have some. I know I went to a party once with your dad, and I was surprised about the thing
that he was at the party.
Well, we went to that bonfire that you guys have. Your generation always has.
Yeah, we used to have the country Christmas.
Yeah, and that was the kind of talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, a bunch of guys. There's probably about 20 of us back in the day, back in our younger days, where we had a big what we called the country Christmas, and we'd have it. It's at several different places, but the one most people probably remember is at the Dog Club up on old Gainesville Road, and raised actually we started doing it where at first it just started off as fun and just invited everybody, had a bunch of kegs and food and everything, and then it turned into we started raising or getting toys for tots, and a couple of years there we'd everybody bring a toy for tot, and we'd fill up semi-trailer loads full of toys. And I remember the first year the guys from Toys for Tots came, and they were just almost broke down in tears. They couldn't believe how many toys we had for them that year.
That's cool.
That was a neat thing.
That's cool. Does the Griner family do anything specifically on like Christmas Eve or?
No, we do the open one present thing on Christmas Eve.
That seems to be the most universal.
Yeah, and then we'd always go to the midnight mass. Heard Tom saying something about midnight mass. We did that as well. My dad being the real staunch Catholic and had to go to midnight mass.
As long as it wasn't too long. He always told Father Pat, keep it short.
Keep it short, exactly. Yeah. But one funny story about opening a present on Christmas Eve, if we got time.
Go ahead.
We got time?
Yeah.
We always, the kids got to pick whatever present they wanted to open up, and so, of course, we'd always pick the biggest one, thinking it was going to be the best. And so one year, my youngest brother, Kurt, he was so excited. He had this big present, and it was like, about as tall as him. He said, I'm opening up that one. He opened it up, and it was a pillow. And he was so disappointed, he got mad. He went right up with the bed, and he was almost boycotted Christmas. He was so mad.
Well, you see him on his pillow. Anything else for you, Randy? We're going to keep all getting around there, Father. Anything else for you on Christmas? This Christmas, you're all going to be home, and
we're all going to be home, and then we'll have Christmas dinner. Lori, and we'll cook a Christmas dinner. She's got the girls helping her out now, so they're turning into quite good cooks like she is, and so we'll have a little Christmas dinner, and then we'll go spend some time with my parents down at their house on Christmas night.
Well, you know what you could do? You could leave here and go downtown for snow days.
We got snow day now. I drove through the square. You were asking me about what I thought about Christmas in Ocala. I think it starts with Light Up Ocala.
Yep.
And goes through the Christmas parade, and you'll see all the lights and all the good things that are happening, the concerts, the different things that are happening downtown in the square. That's my Ocala Christmas to me.
I think downtown Ocala is absolutely enchanting in the holidays. I think it's the best it is the year round. I wish they'd done the lights a little bit differently, and Tom's still upset about the big tree, about having the icicles as opposed to the white lights. I'm not crazy about the Christmas tree being on that side of the square. I liked it better in the square, but hey, I'm just one person.
Well, sometimes you got to try some new things to find out what you like and don't like.
Now let's put it back like it was next year. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Randy, yours, thank you so much, and have a very Merry Christmas at your house.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and all the listeners.
And great job on the Nutcracker. So,
thanks. It was all the dancers. They did all the work. We just kind of helped make sure the parts are in the right place and help them to pull it off.
For the record, Randy did not dance, just so you know.
Well, I was going to say, I remember him from back in high school dances. I hope he didn't dance.
No, he didn't dance.
I do a little bit to fill time and space.
Now, Augie, you have to hang around here because we're going to talk about one of the things that comes around with Christmas is basketball in your case. We'll talk about that. We got a lot more to come your way right here on the Voice of Ocala. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA. The Source.
Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, there stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ring in a bell.
Tired of the same old eggs, bacon, and toast breakfast? Is your lunch options drab and boring? There is an alternative for you that combines a great breakfast and a great lunch. Pie on Broadway's Brunch on Broadway provides an enjoyable alternative to the same old meal options. Come enjoy a frittata or flatbread pizza. You can try a huevos rancheros or chicken and waffles. There are many unique menu options at Pie on Broadway. You can also enjoy a complete bar selection as well as fine craft beer options. So remember, try the alternative to that boring breakfast and lunch with Brunch on Broadway at Pie on Broadway every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. But if you can't make it on Saturdays, Pie is open all week with a fine menu selection as well. So remember, if you're looking for an alternative to that boring breakfast or lunch, Brunch on Broadway Saturday at Pie on Broadway beginning at 10 a.m. We'll see you there at Pie on Broadway.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
If you need a sign or a banner for your yard or your business or your campaign, I'd recommend you go to Signs Unlimited at 318 South Magnolia in Ocala. Screen printing, embroidery, digital graphics. Do what I did when we needed signs for the Save the Marion Theater Group. Go see Vic Buttermore at Signs Unlimited if you want quality work with a fast turnaround from somebody who is deeply committed to his community and always ready to assist you. There's a reason Vic's slogan is, "It's our business to make your business better." Sign up for Signs Unlimited. Call 732-7341 today.
This is James Snyder inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy, right here on WOCA 1370.
Great news from Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. Special store hours now till Christmas. Bob Wine's is open 9 to 5 daily, this Saturday 9 to 4, and Sunday from 11 to 4. You've still got time to get a unique and perfect gift of blooming, gift of green, like poinsettias, fruit trees, camellias, roses, citrus trees, all just waiting for you at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street. Don't miss out on this.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Right now, 40% of wives in the U.S. out-earn their husband. When you have an energy drink with your alcohol, it counteracts the sedating effect of the alcohol. We now know this leads some drinkers to falsely believe they're not as drunk as they really are. Once somebody makes a statement, there's tremendous pressure to avoid conflict and agree with the gossip. By disagreeing, you stop the conversation from escalating.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a toilet was flushing. The plumbing was out. The stockings were dirty, no water to clean. We were in a big mess with no washing machine. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of showers danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap, I searched for my tools to try and fix the mishap. When up in the attic there arose such a clatter. The pipes had burst. I see what's the matter. Away to the phone I flew like a flash to call Mike Scott Plumbing. They'll be here in a dash. He arrived in his van and got the job done, for he knew down the road he had more to come. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Because accidents don't work around your schedule, but we do, with no extra fees for nights, weekends, or holidays. From all of us at Mike Scott Plumbing, happy holidays.
This is Galen Unold, and on behalf of all of us at Life South Community Blood Centers, we hope that all of your winter wishes come true this holiday season. Merry Christmas.
WOCA, Ocala. You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
ABC News Now, I'm Daria Albinger. A week ago, their lives were changed forever. Today, Newtown, Connecticut paused to remember the 26 people killed in the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Bells tolled for each of the victims. There were also more funerals today. The National Rifle Association says the best way to prevent future school shootings would be to place armed guards at every school in the U.S. Executive Vice President Wayne LaPierre says guns aren't the problem, it's the way society portrays violence. Well, it's December 21st, and we're still here. Some interpretations of the Mayan calendar called for the world to end today, but at last check, that hasn't happened. However, some schools closed today mainly because of threats linked to those predictions. Would you pay to send someone a message on Facebook, someone who's not a Facebook friend? Facebook is hoping you will as it tests a new messaging system. The cost for the service, $1 a message. Facebook is betting it would prevent spammers. This is ABC News.
Geico says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At Geico, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just one click and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you needed a brain transplant, would you go to the second best brain surgeon? No, you'd go with number one. Well, it's exactly the same with printer ink. Yeah, sort of. See, Staples is the #1 ink retailer in America. And right now, get a $15 iTunes gift card instantly when you spend $75 or more on ink at Staples. It's a no-brainer. Staples. That was easy.
In-store only. Ends 12/24/12. Gift cards not returnable. Returned ink refund amount reduced by gift card value. Excludes Epson inks. Subject to availability while supplies last. No rain checks. Limit to. Apple not participating in or sponsoring promotion.
I'm just sick of all the amateur stuff, you know? I mean, like, if I'm paying top dollar, I want a little production value, you know? Like some editing, transition, something, some music.
Don't worry, we didn't leave you.
He's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Our bosses say we gotta stay.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei. It's time for the second hour of The Voice of Ocala. Hoo-ah!
You ever come across anything like time travel?
Come on, stick around. It's free.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win.
All right, welcome back to The Voice of Ocala. We're at Gateway Bank where it's Community Gazette Day. Come on by and have a cookie, say hello. Drop by, we're upstairs. Glad to say hello, Merry Christmas to you. Our thanks to Randy Ewers for dropping in, talking about the Nutcracker, which played successfully at the Civic Theater up through last weekend. And where our theme is kind of like this Christmas, but what is an Ocala Christmas like? What do you do? We shared some with Augie Griner a little earlier, Augie Griner Jr. He joins us for this next half hour or so, however long he can stay. And we'll get a visit from the CEO back there in the back room. Tom Ingham will join us a little later. Does a great job at the Christmas parade now. I thought was one of the more successful things we had for Interfaith, where people came down to the bank and watched from the balcony up here, watched the Christmas parade, and paid $50 a head, all the money going to Interfaith, which is a terrific organization and charity. So, Augie, good to have you back again on the show. It's been a little while since we've done much radio. We got to get you on here more often.
It's been a long time. Probably since back in the
it's my fault.
Triple Crown days from the horse racing.
Yeah. My fault.
But now
Tom thinks
Saturday. Tom thinks he's the horse racing expert, so you
Tom's
call him
an expert at a lot of things.
Exactly.
Very much so. In relationships, if you want to do that, by the way, he'll help you with that.
I'm such an expert.
Let's talk for a second about the Kingdom of the Sun tournament, which is an event. It's coming, I couldn't believe it, 39th year.
Wow.
We had Coach Haley on yesterday, Coach Small from Vanguard, and I was really interested in hearing the history. I was gone during that time, as you remember, back in the day, and I didn't really know a lot of the history, but what a terrific job that they did of putting this together. And your father was instrumental in supporting, of course. He loves all basketball, and one of the things that Jim Haley said about him was he wanted the best tip-off club anywhere around. If Gainesville had 100, he wanted to have 200, and of course that's what's happened. And you, of course, now as the head of the hip-hop clubs. Let's talk first of all about the Kingdom of the Sun. You've been there a number of times, right?
I have.
Tell me about your thoughts about it.
Well, Kingdom of Sun is one of the best tournaments around in high school basketball. I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's got a lot of prestige around the country. There's a lot of teams. Coach Haley has done a phenomenal job over the years of trying to go out there and getting the best teams he possibly can get and bringing them into Ocala. And we've had a lot of good players come through here, playing here. And really, Coach Haley is the main reason why. He's the one that knows all the coaches, knows the players, knows who. And one thing he tries to do as well is he tries to go out there and find the real good recruits out there that all the big colleges are after, and tries to get their teams coming in. We got one of Florida's really good recruits coming in here. It was Chris Walker.
Yeah.
Holmes. Yeah, from Holmes County. Yeah, he's going to be coming and playing it. So Coach Haley will try to find teams like that'll get people really interested in going out and see it. But the competition is great. The teams are phenomenal. The basketball is great. It's a great time.
Really something, and the fact that they have national, teams coming in. Bobby Hurley's team came in for years and years, and I hear they possibly might come back again.
Yeah,
we got a little help from Mr. Steinbrenner on that, I think, but nonetheless.
And that's the thing about the tournament. As great a tournament as it is, this could be, the premier tournament in the country. The problem with some tournaments like this is financially, a lot of the big name programs, they'll only go somewhere if they get X amount of money, or they get put up in hotels, or they get this and get that. And Coach Haley's done a great job of guiding the tournament and getting great teams in here. But you can always use even more financial support. And if I think the tournament had a little bit more financial support, you could even get even better teams to come in here, because it is a very prestigious tournament to win.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday, one of the things you talked about was the fact that it's considered to be like the second best in the country. The first, he said, would be City of Palms.
Second best in the state.
Well,
about fourth or fifth in the country. Second best in the state.
Well, anyway, second to the City of Palms. And now Tom James, who was in Fort Myers and actually was the sports anchor for Channel 2 down there, he said he thought it was every bit as good as that. But Haley did say it's because they have so much money there. They have $250 million to work with, and Jim Haley has nowhere near that to put this on. So, as you point out, that is a consideration.
Yeah, if he had more financial support, from the local community or wherever, he could get some of the teams that right now are going down to City of Palms to play down there, and some of the big programs, that have the top guys in the country and are continuously funneling guys to the major programs.
It's a little bit of advantage, too, that Fort Myers has got a beach area. It's a little bit warmer down there. That's a little bit of an advantage. People say, hey, I want to go to the tropics, and whatever. But nonetheless, a terrific event. And thinking about this, how it started with a vision and people following up on it, which is kind of like what we need behind everything we do, whether it's Silver Springs, whether it's revamping, revitalizing downtown, whatever it may be, is to have someone with a strong vision and a willingness to commit to it and with some conviction, and a leadership. Your father was one of those. He was relentless. He had a tip-off club, this idea for tip-off club, but he was just not going to settle for it. Now I remember when Billy Donovan came down and took the job, and the first thing your dad said was, he may not want to do it this. He meant it might be the end of this thing. Of course, he started with Norman Sloan and went all the way through with every coach. Turned out that not only did Billy do it, Billy was probably the most active coach that he's ever had here. And I believe the other ones did great, but Billy made a big commitment here. I mean, 4 times a year sending staffers down here. That's a big deal now today. It wasn't such a big deal as maybe 30 years ago, but today, getting a coach or coaches to come, it's tough, isn't it?
Especially early in the morning. Those guys, people wouldn't believe how busy those coaches are. We all know that they're practicing every day, and they got the game. But if they're not practicing, at least 2 coaches probably are off recruiting every day. They have no free time, and so to get them to commit to come down here for a breakfast meeting when they're on the road and doing this and flying back and forth, it is pretty phenomenal. But I can tell you this, too. A lot of our different banquets that we have, all the coaches that have come through here, and these assistant coaches kind of bounce around from different college to different college, sometimes. And you've had some that have been to some of the major programs and this and that. Every single one of them will tell you they have never seen anything like our tip-off club banquet, because just the amount of exposure that the coaches get when they come here, and well, for the longest time, the ribbing that my dad would give Billy.
Well, there is nothing like it in all of college basketball.
Right, and so these coaches would come in and they just, I'd hear about it, and they'd tell me to be ready for it and this and that, but you can't believe it until you get here and you actually see it and hear it. It's a neat experience.
A few of our head coaches out there now. Coach Patino,
yeah, he was out there. You got Coach Shaka Smart.
There you go. Shaka Smart.
Anthony Grant, obviously. Donnie Jones.
And your coach, your Shynak partner.
My man Shynak. He's, I know. Every time I talk to him, I tell him I miss my man Shynak.
Yeah. Shyat. He's a terrific. You guys did that. Was a great act. I hope we get that on video someplace, because that's a classic one that we should.
I hope so, but no one else, we probably don't.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back here shortly and talk a little bit more about Ocala being a basketball town and an Ocala Christmas. Let's see if we can define that. I'm having a difficult time getting people to define what an Ocala Christmas is. Maybe it just doesn't exist. I don't know. But to me, there's always an interpretation of that. So we'll take a break. We'll return. We'll be joined hopefully by Tom Ingram.
He keeps running back and forth.
Something going on here. I'm not sure exactly.
He's trying to act like he's working.
Yeah, somebody just brought a lot of cash in or something. He ran down the stairs to make sure it got in or something. But he'll be back in a moment. We'll talk more about it right here. Stay tuned to the Voice of Ocala. It's Community Gazette Day here at Gateway Bank. And you come down and join us and get a cookie if Tom hadn't eaten them all. And we'd love to say hello to you.
I don't know where they are.
Yeah, well, they
may already be gone. I was here for an hour before y'all were.
All right, back after this timeout on the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name. Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the Voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA The Source.
Forget the year-end sales. You may not have the time. Head to Ford Lincoln of Ocala for their gigantic end-of-the-world sale. If you're the one who believes the end of the world will happen on December 21st, wouldn't it be nice to go out in style? Forget about MPGs. Live large, baby. Roll the dice. It's all about you, comfort, and luxury without paying a dime. Buy any new Ford on the lot because there may not be time to order before December 21st. And if the 22nd never rolls around, well, you won't owe a dime. In all fairness, let's say you do wake up on the 22nd. Ford Lincoln of Ocala says enjoy your new vehicle. Take 90 days to make your first payment and count your lucky stars you get to enjoy your new Ford. Visit Ford Lincoln of Ocala before the 21st of December, because it would be a shame to have all these beautiful new Fords and the incredible savings go to waste. Or stay at home and shop FordofOcala.com, but keep your eye on the sky. 90-day payment deferment added at the end of the loan. See dealer for details.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source, 1370 a.m. and the new 96.7 FM.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the Voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA The Source.
This is JJ LaSalle in the WOCA studios with this news update brought to you by the Gateway Bank. The National Rifle Association stood its ground today in arguing that the answer to gun violence in schools is an armed security force that can protect students, while blaming the media and violent entertainment and video games for recent deadly shootings. The only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, NRA Executive Vice President Wayne LaPierre said in presenting the NRA's first comments about the Connecticut shooting since it occurred a week ago today. This news update was brought to you by the Gateway Bank. Join Buddy every Friday for Community Gazette Day at Gateway.
A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls will talk and we'll go.
And welcome back to Gateway Bank. Augie Ioana Jr. is our guest. Tom Smith joins me here. We're talking Christmas, traditions. And, you know, if you find yourself in a mood to talk and want to tell us about it, you may pick up the phone and call 622-9622 if you'd like to, and we'll share a story or two. We're just talking to Augie about Christmas traditions. We all seem to have the one common theme. We open a present on Christmas Eve, and usually people go to church on Christmas Eve if they're church goers. And there is a certain kind of food that some people have. Like, we always go to church with the Lovels, meaning Scott and Dawn, and the Georges, Sherry and Howard, and other members of our family, my daughter Laurie or whoever might be in town, and others. And then we come back over to usually the Lovels' house, and we have chili and clam chowder. And they're equally good. It's great clam chowder. I believe Dawn makes a clam chowder.
Clam chowder.
And it's really good. And then the chili is excellent. It's just always a good night to have chili, you know. And then we'll have maybe the kids will open a present or something while they're there, and that'll be it. And then the next morning we're off to our own houses to have our own Christmas, what have you. So and the only thing we used to do, as I said earlier, we don't do, we had talent shows. And I have to tell the story on Howard George. I hope people out there who hear it will razz him about it, because we lived in Colorado. We had this rule, ironclad, everybody had to have a talent for the talent show. I mean, some people sang, some people danced. I think my middle daughter Rebecca one time had her Uncle Armin Lovell jump out of a box like something she did. Everybody had something. Howard did not want to do a talent. Well, he got browbeat so bad that he had to do something. So Howard comes to Colorado, and his time comes up, and he says, "Okay, Howard, it's your turn for talent." Howard takes a box out, pulls out his golf scorecards, and said, "Okay, I shot 83 at Muni, 84 at Shores," and he read his golf scores. That was his talent. Now, that's lame, isn't it?
I tell you what's even funnier is that he's not going to get mad at you for telling the story. He's going to get mad at you for saying he shot 83 and 84.
Exactly. He probably shot 75
exactly.
when he shot it. And Howard. I elevated him slightly. So, anyway, that's just one of those little stories that, you know, and we found one year that one of the kids, I believe it was Howie George, and by the way, I got to say this while I'm thinking about it. Congratulations to Howie George and to Grant Lovell, today named to the all-county golf team by the Star Banner. So congratulations to my grandnephews. I know
Howie George won the MCIAC title this year.
Yeah, Howie's quite a player, and I'm proud of both of them. And I know that their grandfather, Armin Lovell, who basically taught me to play golf, of course, is no longer with us. He was thrilled today to hear that, because his two grandsons making the all-county team. That was a great accomplishment.
Very good. Congratulations to him.
Yes, absolutely. So you're a golfer. You know what that's like.
Yeah, I hit the sticks around.
So anyway, so that's a few things that we do.
Well, we never had a talent show or anything, and this really isn't necessarily a Christmas tradition, but I can tell you this: when we were kids growing up. Whenever we found out it was going to freeze, we'd go out in the front yard and run a sprinkler up into a tree so we'd have icicles the next morning.
I like that.
And so we did that every time it froze. And then as we got a little bit older, and of course the tree we did it in every year eventually died because we'd freeze it every year with icicles and the branches would hang down and die.
There is that residual effect.
Yeah, but so then we started just watering down the driveway so the next morning we could get up and play hockey. You know, the brilliant Ocala kids that we were going to play ice hockey on the driveway. So that's something kind of neat.
Well, there's some traditions you can talk about and some you can't. I mean, they're just, let's face it. But everybody's got, let's say routines or whatever. Each family celebrates their own way. It's universal that we all get together. We love sharing the Christmas together, giving gifts. We don't give gifts like we used to. In fact, my wife and I got to a point we don't hardly even exchange gifts anymore after all those years of giving presents. One year, it was so bad. We lived in St. Petersburg that my relatives, or my father-in-law, my sister and brother-in-law were there, Scott and Sherry there. And the whole foyer was literally so many presents we couldn't walk through it. And literally, I said, this has gotten totally out of hand now. But now we're a little bit more. And one of the things that we do now is we give the kids a certificate for charity for something called Charity Water, to give fresh water to people and kids in Africa who can't get clean water. So there's ways to get around that. But anyway, that's ours. Now, Tom Ingram, I know he's probably very proud of the present he bought me, although he hasn't told me what it is yet. And I'm sure it'll be under my Christmas tree when I get to my house. But one thing you started a tradition I think is going to be really cool. That's here at Gateway Bank.
Yes, it is. You're speaking of the Christmas parade and the interfaith event we had.
Yes,
it was the first annual this year, and we had a great turnout, and you couldn't ask for a better venue to sit and watch the parade and raise money for a good cause at the same time.
On surface, you say $50 a head. You think, oh, that's a lot of money. Then you stop and think about it. A, you're giving it to charity, and you're giving it to one of the best charities. You give it to Interfaith. And B, you're coming to the perfect spot to watch the parade. There is no better place than that front porch. And C, you get food and drink. So you think that's a pretty good investment, And I like the fact that this year you kept it down. It used to be everybody could come and you'd have hundreds of people, but with just under 100, it was a manageable
We had a limit of 77, and we filled it, and it was perfect. It worked out great, and we had all the food you could eat, had adult beverages and everything in between, and a great parade in the background. We also there was a harpist at the foot of the stairs playing and playing Christmas music, and it was nice. We were very happy, and at the end of the night, we were able to give Interfaith almost $3,000.
Cool.
And that was a good thing to do for them, and it worked out great for us as well.
Our friend Angie Lewis, you know Angie, don't you? I know that Tom knows her, and she serves on our merit there. But she made a statement yesterday, which I thought was really cool. She said she's constantly amazed. She's new here 7 years. She's been here in Illinois. She said she's constantly amazed at the way Ocala people embrace others and do things for others who can't do for themselves. She said every year she learns about a new incident or organization or somebody doing things that are so cool. And I'm going to brag on one, and you may know of others, that, again, the late Armin Lovell, as a member of the Lions Club, would take the small children, when my daughter and Scott and Sherry were all small, and they put toys in the back of the car, and they go from home to home to home of people who did not have any Christmas. They would never go to the door. They would leave the toys on the porch. And it made such an impression on the young children that when Armin Lovell died in 1991, my daughter Laurie in Boston wrote a check for $200 and sent it to the Lions Club and said, I would like you to do something in honor of my uncle who taught me about Secret Santa. And they started a golf tournament, which began to raise money for that event. Wow. And about 3 weeks ago, Laurie was called and asked to go to a Lions Club meeting with Angie Shashi and David. She went, and they recognized her and gave her a plaque and talked about the thousands of dollars that have been raised for children and for toys in this community, all because she started it with that $200 check. Again, this just happens to be my daughter. There are many other people in this town who do things like that. That, to me, is what you call paying it forward. That's what I love about Ocala.
Absolutely.
Yep, and Tom, that is a great job you do here for the parade. I mean, that's a neat thing, and
thank you.
This is the perfect spot to watch it too. You got the nice balcony up top, and I think we need to have Buddy come down here and do a parade broadcast from here.
Actually, they did it down in WCA, right down the street there. We're originally coming, but they didn't have room for them with the paid customers. We didn't want to infringe on their time.
That's true.
So they went down. Maybe next year we can work that out. So we can have a special spot for them. We'll do the parade. And I think the other idea you had was great, too, about next year giving free samples in the bank. That's a great idea. I mean,
well, we do that every day.
I mean, you want to be generous.
It's the time of year, so come by. We have a free sample here for you.
You've gotten away with not being able to share with us anything you do special on Christmas. Do you go barefoot skiing?
We do. I thought of that, and it struck me that we do, and it really started when we moved to Ocala, and we were out on Lake Weir, and we would have the family come every Christmas, mostly from my wife's side of the family. We'd have 16 or so people in our lake house, and every Christmas we would do that, and part of that was having a big bonfire out by the lake. We started doing outdoor movies 3 or 4 years ago as part of it. And
roast a pig or anything?
No, no, didn't do that. But we do fry a turkey, so that counts for something.
Yeah, it does.
And
you go kill an alligator like you did and skin it,
right? and ride that around the lake. And but the other thing was Santa Claus would always do a flyover, sometime while we were around the bonfire. And that was always exciting. He would usually drop something on the ground, and
really,
you could hear him up in the air.
I thought Santa Claus did a ski by.
Well,
yeah, exactly. What's that all about?
Well, Santa Claus he got a little overweight, and he couldn't get up on the ski.
I can identify with that, by the way. I understand. Next year you have him paddleboarding in. Right?
So he's been on the program for the last 5 years.
Oh, good for Santa.
So he may be skiing in the near future.
Very good. So, but it's. Again, Ocala Christmases. I don't know. We shared a little bit about that. What it means to you. Augie and I talked about the country Christmas that his generation had, and I don't know if there's...
Yeah, when I first came to town, I remember that. That was one heck of a Christmas party.
That was a great Christmas party. We had, literally, I think a couple of years there, we had thousands of people out there.
Oh, it was amazing.
But that was quite a production.
Need to get that going again.
I know. We need to get some of these younger guys out here to take up the mantle and
pass the torch.
Exactly.
Tom, you made a statement in the article in the magazine Neighbors about you always felt like you were born in Ocala, or you felt like that you should have been born in Ocala because you so closely identified with it. Explain that.
Well, I guess it's easy to explain. I mean, I just felt like I'd been a part of the community for some reason. The folks that I met here, a lot of which grew up here, second and third generation families, were just my kind of people. And, I hit it off with, you got guys like Augie Griner, the Drakes, the McBrides. They're people, the McKays, that have been around forever, and it just felt a real kinship there, and felt like
Peaks.
The Peaks. And so, it was always like being part of the family, and it took a year probably to get ingrained with a lot of these people, but once we became friends, I feel like we're going to be friends forever. Just really, really good people.
I'm encouraged by the fact that a lot of the families now, the younger generations, are coming home or staying home or being here. Bryce Peak being an example.
Great example.
He's going to be the president of the DBA at 23 years old. Stepping in for his dad, who's been ill. Everybody knows, and now is much better. And because of his health, Bryce came home and stayed. Now Bryce is going to wind up working for his dad told me last night he wants to get out of the way.
That's a great story. Bryce he's a good kid. He's not a kid. He's got a
young man,
full-grown beard now.
He's a kid, though.
But he is. He's also training to be a dive master, and I'm taking a course with him right now. So we're headed to the Cayman Islands with Bill Foote in January.
There's something you could do for Christmas. Will be different. A little dive trip, right?
Doing that. We tried to do that this year. An annual Cayman family trip, but nobody was too interested in going. Well, rather stay in Ocala.
Tough gig, man. Tough gig.
All right, Mr. Ingram. Thanks for having us out again. And if you're around the Sports Hour, drive back by. We'll be talking a little bit about the Gator basketball team and a few other things. So thanks again.
I will. And Merry Christmas to you and the listeners out there, and look forward to a prosperous 2013.
All right, Tom. Thank you very much, Tom.
Merry Christmas.
You going to hang with us for a minute, Augie?
Sure.
All right. You got to do car cool duty or anything? Because you okay?
Well, I'd either stay here, talk to you, or I go home and babysit my 4-year-old. So
you probably have a better deal.
Here.
Okay. Augie Griner joins us next. Tom Schmitz. We'll talk a little bit more about, I've got my tweets and quotes, and we'll catch up on the latest news coming up next right here on the Voice of Ocala. 1370 AM, 93 point, I almost messed it up, 96.3. I had a string going of like 25 in a row, and you messed me up. 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And State Farm agent Angie Lewis is always there, too, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. At the Angie Lewis State Farm Agency, they go far beyond any slogan. Angie wants to help you adjust your insurance needs as your life evolves, from everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. They want to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. Each week on The Voice of Ocala, they feature a Good Neighbor of the Week, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. They're also big sports fans and sponsor our weekly State Farm State of the State report, which highlights a different college sports program each week. The Angie Lewis Agency of Ocala is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Call your Good Neighbor State Farm agent today, Angie Lewis, at 291-2444.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day. Whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands, at Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
They've served our country. They've kept us free, and they need your help.
We're sitting in Veterans Park. You can't sit here not realizing that you're surrounded by heroes. There are a lot of heroes in our community. A lot of heroes, unfortunately, are not in good financial shape. They're hurting both physically and financially. We step in and help directly. Our role is to reach out to them. We're there to help the veteran. We do counseling. We do outreach. Sometimes it's just coming into the office and sitting down and saying, hey, I've got a problem, and you're talking to another veteran who understands that problem.
Everybody who works for the Vets Helping Vets are awesome, and they are so kind to everybody. They're like my second family. They really are.
They have been there during the holidays. I have gotten unexpected visits, assistance.
Vets Helping Vets of Marion County needs your help. Call today, 352-433-2320, and pledge your support to Vets Helping Vets of Marion County.
It really has been a blessing.
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical records software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
Hey, this is Eric Harley.
And I'm Gary McNamara from Red Eye Radio.
And while the other stations may be playing reruns overnight, we know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday.
Right here on WOCA, 1370 a.m. and 96.7 FM. The Source.
1370 WOCA.
This is JJ Lassalle in the WOCA studios with this news update brought to you by the Country Club of Ocala. Confronted with a revolt among the rank-and-file House Republicans abruptly scrapped a vote Thursday night on legislation allowing tax rates to rise for households earning $1 million and up, complicating attempts to avoid a year-end fiscal cliff. The legislation did not have sufficient support from our members to pass, Speaker John Boehner conceded in a brief statement. This news update was brought to you by the Country Club of Ocala. If you would like to schedule a special event at one of Ocala's premier facilities, call 352-237-6644 today.
We're still goodbye and
long as you love me so. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hi, welcome back to the Voice of Ocala, Gateway Bank today. Community Gazette Day. Augie Uriah Jr. joins us. Augie, a little bit earlier we had a conversation about baseball in the community, and we all know by now that there's been some discussions between the city and the New York Yankees possibly putting their Class A team here. There's been some conversation, but nothing of substance since that time. We're not really knowing whether, this is how real this is going to be. Obviously, there's some issues about the stadium, where the money comes from, and so on and so forth. I've heard a lot of different versions of this, like the Yankees are ready to put money in, and would there be a partnership? What have you heard about Major League Baseball?
Well, I know there's definitely some interest here. I mean, there's been discussions for quite a few years now about trying to get a team here. There's so many different levels of baseball out there, single A, double A, triple A, developmental league or whatever, spring training. I mean, there's any number of ways you can go.
This is advanced, supposedly. Class A advanced.
Yeah. But, I think that Ocala would be a great place for a baseball team, Class A or whatever. I think it could get very good attendance. I mean, I think we've got people here that would love to go out there and support a team and see it every day. Kind of another set of things. I think that having a baseball stadium here, I know the big issue is going to be paying for it, and that is a big issue. I mean, they're very expensive. I know that we talked about in one meeting one time, doing a baseball stadium kind of convention center kind of facility was going to run $25-30 million. I mean, there's
just no way that money's available through the county.
No, I mean, so there's just no way you can do it locally like that. So you're going to have some either the baseball team put in some money, or some private donors, or somebody helping out that way. But I think it also helps out in a couple different ways too. I mean, I think it is a business driver. I think it will help, restaurants and shopping, and then it'll get new restaurants and shopping to kind of come and surround the baseball stadium. And the other thing, too, that doesn't really get talked about very, very much when you're talking about the baseball team is, businesses that are looking to go different places, like if you had a company that wanted to relocate and they're looking at Ocala, it says a lot about your city if the company comes and says, hey, they're forward looking enough to where they have a baseball team here and they can support a baseball team. I mean, that says a lot about your community, that you can do it. Just got a dirty look here from somebody walking by, but things like that. I mean, it does make a difference, But it does all get back to the money issue, and that is a big issue. So if that can get figured out, though, I think that Ocala would be a great place for a baseball team that could really support it.
One person in a prominent position in this county, and it's not Mayor Gwynn, by the way, has said to me how great it would be if we got the big brands that we're going after. And, we know about a couple of those. One being the New York Yankees, which is a brand would be right up there with the best that there is.
Right.
And then there's another one who said that a major shipping company, and I'm just going to assume it's FedEx, has looked into possibly coming here because of our airport, which would be terrific. And, of course, the third brand is Silver Springs, which is already here, something that there's a lot of talk about right now. I, by the way, had a conversation today with a senator from the state of Florida about Silver Springs, and it's Senator Charlie Dean, and he is so gung-ho about Silver Springs. He'll be a guest on our show after the first of the year. His position was, I hear a lot of talk, I don't see any action, I'm getting old, I want to have this done while I'm still alive so I can enjoy it. So he's a guy who wants action. That's the kind of talk I like to hear about projects like that. I realize there's negotiations that go on, and you got to play either by the rules, all that stuff. But, it's like, to a lesser degree, developments that we've talked about downtown, whatever, till you see some bricks and mortar go up and see it happen. Some people just don't believe it can happen. Unfortunately, that sometimes kills the vision. So I think it'd be a wonderful, if we all had Jim Haley's vision, like the Kingdom of the Sun, what could we do?
Well, it's kind of like we were saying before. I mean, it needs one person to really get behind it and champion the cause.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times, you might look at it like, let's just take the baseball because we're talking about the baseball. You know, you might look at it as in a macro environment and say, you know, oh, there's no way it can happen. But if you really get somebody behind it and he's out there and he's looking at every possible way to make it happen, he's talking to this person, talking to that person, getting this guy together and that guy together, and talking to this business and that business, you know, he somehow finds a way to get it done and it works.
Right.
But if you don't have that person, it never even gets to the second step.
Absolutely.
And it's the same with the baseball. It's the same with Silver Springs. You know, it's the same with a lot of different things that go on down here.
On the other hand, we had a discussion this morning, Tom and I did, down at Starbucks with some people about this couple from the Citrus County who proposes a
cultural, yeah.
And Tom, what was that conversation about?
We thought something didn't add up yesterday. We heard they presented it to the county and everything, but something was missing. We found out this morning what was missing: the money to build the thing.
That's always a bugaboo, isn't it?
They got grand ideas, no financial backing.
Yeah. So, but nonetheless, I think it's important. And Jay Musty, the councilman, smiling at that because that's right down his wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, he loves that stuff
because he's a bottom line guy, and he loves it when you talk about having the money. Show me the money, he says, right? And I'm glad he does that. That's a good thing.
That's a councilman and a banker. I mean, you know,
there you go. There you go. But you know, and I think there's room for both visionaries and people who understand how to read a profit and loss sheet, both, which is what it requires to pull things off. So. Let's change gears just a second here before I do my tweets and quotes. I'll do those after the break. Let's talk a little bit about Gator basketball.
There we go.
And also the project ahead. We got time in the sports hour to discuss this too. But talking about wanting to do things, trying to get the state junior college basketball tournament to CF. There's a move afoot to do that right now. There are people working on that plan. Tom and I have been to a couple of meetings about it. CF is trying to work out to develop some dollars, and it's not a lot of money, by the way, to underwrite this, and it is up in Chipola this year after like 10, 12, 13 years or whatever, and it's up for grabs. Seems to me, if you're a coach in Bradenton and Orlando and Palm Beach from a community college and you want to go to a state tournament, let me see here. Which would you rather come to, Chipola, Mariana, or would you rather come to Ocala? And Ocala is a great spot for this, and they have the venue for it. It can actually work, and so
you got the venue. You know, it's centrally located, and I would think that you know, most of the hotels are kind of out near the college.
And
so,
we've actually got hotel people involved in that discussion. Now, during the sports hour, we'll talk about this, but I wanted to get your take on Ocala, a basketball community or not a basketball community. We get different comments about that, and we'll reserve those. Yesterday, we talked to Coach Haley. We talked to other people about Billy possibly being discouraged because of, you know, the crowd's not sure, like they didn't show up the other night. We'll talk a little bit about that. About, is it a basketball town? Something your dad always fought for, by the way, this to be a basketball community. So we'll do that when we come back, and you and I will hang out. I'll come back with my tweets and quotes. Augie will hang with us for a little bit. Carmen, he's playing hooky here. He doesn't want to come home and take care of his daughter, so we'll capture him for a few
it's called parenting, not babysitting. I had to clarify myself.
Oh, okay.
You can't call it babysitting when it's your own kid. It's parenting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been corrected many times.
Wow, I learned something. See, what do I know? I'm just a grandfather. I don't know about those things. In my case, it's babysitting.
That's the best gig in the world. You get them all riled up and play with them, and then you hand them back. But
it's not called grandfathering. It's called.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, could be. All right.
Wait, before we sign off, though, I got to ask Tom. How long do you practice in the mirror saying the source, the way you do it?
None.
Yeah,
absolutely zero.
Just all talent.
You practice that
absolutely zero.
Total talent. Nope. That's all it is.
Just one of those signatures.
He says, I'm going to delay for 3 seconds.
All right, you want to coach Augie how to do this?
All you got to do is sort of like hitting the ball to right field.
All right, let's see.
1,000, 1,000 a swing.
Well, you say it with him this time, you and Augie, so you guys can coach him up a little bit, will you?
All right.
All right. Listen to the voice of Ocala on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com.
The source.
Recently, I had a great conversation with General Manager Pat Murray on the special events at Country Club of Ocala.
We have a lot of events, special events here that are geared towards the family. Easter comes to mind. We have an Easter bunny who hops around on the driving range. We usually hide somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 eggs and turn them loose and let them go harvest the eggs. We have a great family celebration here on the 4th of July where it's a traditional cookout, if you will. And as the sun goes down, the driving range becomes alive with probably one of the better fireworks displays in the area. Breakfast with Santa is a big deal.
Country Club of Ocala, where the Easter Bunny, Santa, and all the children, large and small, are a big deal on every special occasion. For more information, call 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of the Monday Gator Report right here on The Source.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance. Offers don't combine.
Ho, ho, ho. It's the holidays.
Hey, this is Santa. Chris Spears from Prestige. Auto sales are up 13% for the year, and interest rates are at an all-time low. I'm selling cars faster than I can get them, and I'm in a ho, ho, ho lot of trouble.
So this week, Santa is paying as much as double for your old sled.
Based on the nicer, newer car you choose, I will pay you up to twice the appraised value for your old car. Don't wait till next year to drive the car of your dreams.
Yes, you could get double for your old car right now. Plus, our For the People credit approval process can approve your credit whether you've been naughty or nice.
I need cars now. I'll pay you a lot more for your old sled, which means you can drive a nicer, newer car today.
Hurry, the ho 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 ends once Santa has a ho 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 lot of cars.
I'm Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people. Visit me at Prestige Auto Sales in Ocala or Bellevue.
Or call 694-1234. See you at Prestige.
Don't get caught without your daily source of senior deals. Pick up your copy of the Senior Voice newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors, with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. And pick up your copy of the Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Hi, Ocala. This is Kelly Hart.
And me, Lily.
And we're inviting you to help support our second annual Operation Feed 100 for Christmas, being held downtown at the Insomniac Theater, Christmas Day at 4 p.m. Last year, we were able to feed over 100 people in need on Christmas Day, and with your help, we can feed even more this year on Christmas Day. We're asking for your help in the form of cash donations, non-perishable food items, and new unwrapped toys. You can drop off your donations to Healthy Hearts Fitness Studio, just behind Checkers on Silver Springs Boulevard. For more information, check out our Facebook event page. Just search Second Annual Operation Feed 100 or call 352-577-WISH.
Thank you for supporting Operation Feed 100. Merry Christmas, Ocala.
Stay informed on everything going on in the villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Let it snow, let it snow.
Weather
All right, welcome back to the Voice of Ocala. JJ, fire up that tweets and quotes music. We'll give you our kind of mediocre ones today, but give you our tweets and quotes on this Friday, my last day. I guess you tomorrow morning at Pi. I guess I'll be with you, so you will be. All right, so Samuel Golden said, a verbal contract isn't worth the paper it's written on. True. Number two, this is one for Augie Jr. to remember because he has one child at the moment. Here's an anonymous one. Having one child makes you a parent. Having two makes you a referee. Just remember that, Augie. And finally, a little humor from Joan Rivers. I hate housework. You make the beds, you do the dishes, and 6 months later, you have to do it all over again. Joan Rivers. All right. Augie, let's set the table for next hour. We got a couple of minutes. We'll have Mark Long from the Associated Press with us about 5:20 to talk about a little basketball, a little bit of football, Tim Tebow's future if he has one, etc. But meanwhile, what a really painful loss Saturday night. That's so for the Gators. I mean, I imagine if your dad had been alive, he'd have been throwing things at the television. But it's the old saying, people say you forget one thing, get the basketball in first. It's so true, isn't it?
I mean, it is. That was one of the more disappointing losses that I've witnessed. Because I mean, you don't mind losing games here and there, and Arizona's a good team, and you're playing at their place. But when you're clearly the better team and you still end up losing, that's a tough one to take.
It's a national game. The spotlight's on these two programs. You're there, and for the first half, the Gators looked like they were going to win the NCAA. They looked great. I mean, they were just killing them. Up by 12. They're knocking down threes. They're playing. Rosario's playing out of his mind. Even though other guys didn't play quite so well, there were a couple of guys that stepped up and played great. And then next thing you know, they have a 6-point lead with 2 minutes to go. You're thinking, well, get it in bounds, hold it, get fouled, make your foul shots, and disaster struck. What in the world happened?
Yeah, it's well, without making excuses, I'm going to make.
No. I mean, I'm not asking.
I did hear from people that were at the game, and it was a very physical game, and the referees were letting a lot of the physical play go at the end of the game. So, when you're trying to get the ball in as a guard, and you're basically getting shoved out of the way, and no calls being made, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. So I mean, you have that to work against. But but that also teaches Florida that you might end up in a game like that later in the year or in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you no telling what kind of referees you're going to get, and some of them like to have physical play. But Florida, I think, is the type of team, and they've always kind of been this type of team where end of halves or end of games, they have never been really good at holding the ball or running clock off or things like that. I mean, they're an aggressive offensive team. They run their play and they shoot when they get open. They play aggressively. And they've never been good at not playing aggressively, and that really shows up at end of games like that. So,
I was just thinking about the fact that if Irving Walker had been there,
exactly.
I was thinking the exact all the times he kicked the ball away, he's going to get a foul. He's going to get a foul shot. He's going to make it.
Yeah, if Irving Walker's on the team the other night, we win that game because exactly he gets the ball, they get it into him, and he'll get fouled and he'll make the foul shot. There's no question.
Who would ever thought we'd be harkening back to say we wish Irving Walker was there? One of the most maligned players ever.
I've always been an Irving Walker fan and defended him because he's a guy that at the end of the game he really wanted the ball, and you didn't mind him having the ball.
He didn't want the ball, and he would take the shot without question. All right, coming up next on Buddy Sports Page, we'll talk about what's happening in the world of sports regarding the NFL. Also, the fact it looks like Wisconsin's got a new coach, and we'll talk with Mark Long from the Associated Press, plus Augie Griner. You'll be gone? You'll be here?
You need me to stay?
For a few.
Okay.
And we'll get you to stay for a few. Make another comment on basketball, and Mark Long will be with us after this timeout right here on this. We go into break. How does that mean, Tom?
30 seconds.
Hi to you, Tom. You're going
30 seconds.
Wrap it up, and you're going this, and you're giving me this.
I never did wrap it up.
It's like, this is the hit and run here, and what is that?
Oh,
coming up next on the program, Mark Long of Associated Press, Joe Williams, hopefully we'll come with Joe out in Denver. Mile High Sports will get his take on the college football season, which is kind of in a lull right now, but the bowl season is coming along. We'll talk about what bowl games to look at and some NFL games. Even though we don't have the Grinders WOCA Pick 6 contest this week, we'll pick it up again next week, give you a chance to win some prizes right here on the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.7 FM, 96.3 FM. WOCA, The Source.
Tired of the same old eggs, bacon, and toast breakfast? Is your lunch options drab and boring? There is an alternative for you that combines a great breakfast and a great lunch. Pie on Broadway's Brunch on Broadway provides an enjoyable alternative to the same old meal options. Come enjoy a frittata or a flatbread pizza. You can try a huevos rancheros or chicken and waffles. There are many unique menu options at Pie on Broadway. You can also enjoy a complete bar selection as well as fine craft beer options. So remember, try the alternative to that boring boring breakfast and lunch with Brunch on Broadway at Pie on Broadway every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. But if you can't make it on Saturdays, Pie is open all week with a fine menu selection as well. So remember, if you're looking for an alternative to that boring breakfast or lunch, Brunch on Broadway Saturday at Pie on Broadway beginning at 10 a.m. We'll see you there at Pie on Broadway.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
If you need a sign or a banner for your yard or your business or your campaign, I'd recommend you go to Signs Unlimited at 318 South Magnolia in Ocala. Screen printing, embroidery, digital graphics. Do what I did when we needed signs for the Save the Marion Theater Group. Go see Vic Buttermore at Signs Unlimited if you want quality work with a fast turnaround from somebody who is deeply committed to his community and always ready to assist you. There's a reason Vic's slogan is, "It's our business to make your business better." Sign up for Signs Unlimited. Call 732-7341 today.
Yes, George.
I can't get the car started, and I need to get to Devon Self-Storage in Ocala to unclutter the garage.
Oh, George, don't worry. Devon Self-Storage in Ocala has a free move-in truck now. Just ask for John or Michael. They will gladly help you. George, you better call 352-873-0777.
Oh, thank you, Alice.
Say hi to Gordy for me.
Yes, I will, Alice.
George, with Devon Self-Storage in Ocala, your life just got easier.
Yes, Alice, yes.
Digital Graphics Reborn. Phoenix Graphics. When you need vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, window graphics, you need to call Phoenix Graphics at 368-2404. When you need building signs, vehicle wraps, yard signs, realty signs, business cards, you need to call 368-2404. Phoenix Graphics. Digital Graphics Reborn.
Call me crazy. Some people say insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result. I think insanity is 1,000 single-sided full-color business cards for $15 or packing service for 50% off until January 31st, 2013. Call me crazy. Green Sea Printing on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Look for the yellow signs.
Why is it that if you have some awe, it is awesome, but if you are full of awe, it's not awful? That just might be one of those concepts that are simply too deep for me to even ponder. Still, I need to consider those facts as I'm planning to redo the landscaping in my yard. And that's why I'm heading to Kenny's Place Nursery. They have a lot of awesome flowers, marigolds, geraniums, ligustrums, viburnums, all for the flower bed, and muhly grass and pampas grass for the accents. Beautiful. And you know, to me, they really are full of awe. And yet, I think they are awesome. No wonder people say English is the hardest language to learn. Well, one thing's for sure. The language may be hard, but Kenny's Place Nursery makes great landscaping easy. To get to Kenny's Place, just head south out of Ocala and then turn left at the Sheriff's Substation. Or give them a call at 867-1213 for better directions. That's 867-1213 for Kenny's Place Nursery. You'll be full of awe and your yard will look awesome.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
News now. I'm Daria Albinger. 1 week ago, their lives were changed forever. Today, Newtown, Connecticut paused to remember the victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting. A bell tolled for each of the 21st graders and 6 adults who were killed last Friday. There were also more funerals. The nation's largest gun rights group says the only way to avoid another Newtown or Columbine would be to put armed police officers at every school in the U.S. The NRA says stronger gun laws aren't the answer. Flying somewhere today? You better have plenty of patience. This is the busiest travel day of the holiday period. Airports are crowded, and in some places, bad weather is slowing things down. Santa is getting ho-ho-ho beast. Santa suit makers say most of their customers don't need padding anymore to get the jolly look. Demand for slimmer suits is down, and they're getting requests for sizes up to 4X. Seems like they've been apart together forever, but Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore making it official. He's filed for divorce. ABC News.
Hey, what's happening? I'm Wright Brand Bacon, the bigger, better bacon. When you bite into Wright Brand Bacon, it's like DJ Bacon dropping a beat in a packed bacon disco in your mouth. I'm so meaty and delicious, I'm like meat candy. When you fry me up, I smell so good, it draws a crowd like free money. I'm so tender.
Wright Brand Bacon. Bigger, better bacon. Find out more at biggerbetterbacon.com.
It's a scientific fact. Men can only hear certain frequencies during football season. So the jewelry store at Macy's is sending subliminal messages over these radio wavelengths.
The kick is high, and it is caught near the 5-yard line. Brett Winston of Washington, D.C., you gotta hustle, because your wife wants that diamond tennis bracelet for Christmas, and we're way past the 2-minute warning. Also, what's with you leaving your cereal bowls all over? This isn't a frat house.
She's trying to tell you something. This holiday, get her what she really wants from the jewelry store at Macy's.
How much time? 30? 30 seconds? I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Okay. Enough kidding around.
Ho, 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 ho.
And now it's time for the Buddy Martin Sports Page.
He actually had me stay here last night in his gym.
It's like I don't fit in. It's like I don't belong here.
Let's go talk to a couple of guys that never gamble.
Oh, see, I made Lewis a bet here. See, Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put you on the phone house at the same time. He didn't think we could do it. Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
And now, here's Buddy.
Hey, welcome back to Community Gazette Day or Gateway Bank. It's also the Friday Drive now. Time for you to focus in on Friday, and you're behind the wheel. And if you need a car, guess what? I can tell you where to go. Prestige Auto Sale. They're open. They got cars for sale. I know. I saw the website. I don't believe Chris Spears wants to keep those cars. He'd like to sell them. Am I right, Chris?
Yes, sir. I buy nice cars, but I certainly don't buy them to keep.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have all those cars. I'm sure you're moving a few off the lot because I know you got good merchandise there. And a lot of folks I know have gone over and had great buying experiences, including my own son. So talk about what you can do for folks who are in need of transportation, who maybe don't have all the credit score they have at this point in time, would like to be better. What can you do for them?
Well, buddy, we're honored to always be on someone's shopping list. We know most folks like to check with 2 or 3 places, so if we can get on that list, we feel honored, and I don't take it for granted. I have really a crazy big selection. We've got a family right now that's in that are first-time buyers. They're putting $1,200 down, and we got them a real nice car for about $240 a month. But I've got a lady that works for the heart team up at the hospital who's coming in about an hour to look at a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee that we got in. So whether you're qualified for a 2.5 interest rate or you're looking for your first loan, I really think we're kind of a solution specialist, the full spectrum of. A lot of good stores in town, and I've got friends at every dealership. But I also know that we try our best to be at the top of the list as far as what we offer in value and price. And I think one of the elements that helps us at Prestige is I don't have any managers, and most managers at dealerships cost $60,000 to $150,000 a year, and I don't have it. It's you get to deal with my folks out front and then me. So it's we kind of streamline the process a little bit, and When a salesman comes to me and says, I've got these folks here, this is what they like, and this is what we can do, I look at them and say, you know what, if they're happy with it, I tell them to send me a couple customers, and we move on to the next one.
That's what they call you, the Yes Band. Chris Spears can get it done for you. Check them out, 2 locations to serve you, in Bellevue and Ocala. Before I go, any special plans for Christmas?
Just to try to, I have no idea what my Savior did for me. I love my little girls to death, but to think that someone sent their son to die on the cross to be the perfect sacrifice for me, I'm just going to give. I'm going to have a grateful heart as I try to do on a daily basis, and I'm just going to love on my family and just enjoy the blessings that I've got. And on Tuesday, as I do every day, I'm just going to be giving thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Sounds like I got a good Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to your family, Chris.
Same to you, buddy.
All right.
God bless you.
Thank you. All right, back with Augie Griner. He's got to go here, but we promised we would talk about Ocala as a basketball town. We had a conversation with Jim Haley yesterday, very good conversation. It will be, I'm told, replayed, am I right, JJ, on the Christmas special coming up on Christmas Day?
Correct.
All right, of course, what Jim has done in this town. He said he thinks Ocala is a great basketball town. Your thoughts about that?
Oh, I think it is too. I mean, just the fact of the Kingdom of the Sun being such a well-recognized tournament around the country. Though if Ocala wasn't a basketball city and supported it like we did, I mean, it wouldn't be able to last 39 years and be so well-respected. Look how many people from Ocala go to Gator basketball games. I mean, that's a very well-attended, sport for Ocala people. Even just intramurals and church league basketball around here. I mean, it's very well attended. So
Chris Spears, who was just on, was coached by your father, by the way.
Chris Spears was on an old church league basketball team coached by my dad. That is correct, exactly. So I mean, it's just that's been around for a long time, and it's still very, very well organized. So no, I think Ocala is a great basketball town.
All right, so I'm going to issue a challenge to you. Ready?
Yes, I think.
You know you are. You got all this clout as the head of the Augie Griner Ocala Gator Tip-Off Club. It's your name after your dad, and you're a basketball guy. Can't we get this JUCO tournament to Ocala? I think for 2013. Can you use your influence to help us get that?
I think that'd be great. I don't know what influence I have, but whatever I do have, I'd be more than happy to help. I think that'd be a great idea, and I think they'd do phenomenal here. I think if you go out to the Kingdom of the Sun, and people go out to that tournament, I think that you'd get just as great an attendance at the junior college. And
you're going to see some D1 players in this JUCO tournament. They still call it JUCO, although it's community college. You'll have 40 scouts at Kingdom of the Sun, by the way, and you have a ton of them at the JUCO tournament. And, the quality of basketball is excellent. The way this came about was Coach Tim Ryan was on the show one day, and we said, what are your hopes and dreams? He said, I'd like to win a state championship on my home court. That's only possible if the tournament's on his home court. Well, now the contract is up at Chipola, up in Mariana, and it's open up for grabs. I'm hoping that people of Ocala, including citizens like yourself who are very civic-minded, will get behind that idea and support that tournament, because that would be just the kind of venue that Ocala needs, in my opinion, for it to enhance itself, as it would be to get the Tampa Yankees, etc. We can't ever have Major League Baseball at the highest level or whatever, or NBA, but these are things we can do, and it would be a wonderful venue, because you know why? The money they would make go right back in the CF basketball program, which gives them a chance. That's why Chipola is so successful. They get $50,000 a year profit that goes right back to the basketball program. You know what you can do with recruiting for $50,000? A lot. So it's not just an event. It's also a great way to raise money for CF.
And it's great for the city of Ocala anyway. I mean, you're going to have people coming up to this tournament that are going to stay, 4, 5, 6 days, maybe even longer than that. They're going to be out eating, they're going to be shopping, they're going to be staying at the hotels. I mean, it's a great money generator for the local community.
And it would enhance our reputation as a sports community, like the Kingdom of the Sun, like the Henry Camp tournament, like if we do get the baseball here and so on and so forth. I think it's time for us to step it up. So.
And we know how great a community Ocala is, and so you might have some people that come up here for the tournament, or players that come here for the tournament that say, man, I really loved Ocala. I'm going to move there when I get out of college.
Right. I know that the city, Matt Brower, city managers, talk a lot about branding Ocala. about really telling the world about Ocala. We have the Field Downtown campaign, and about getting people from Orlando, Tampa, and Jacksonville to come for a weekend experience here. Something that Silver Springs would be great for. But something like these sporting events could also be that. It would be a small mecca of activity in sports, and this is the kind of thing. So I got assurance from you now that you're behind it. I know we're going to get it if you're in.
I'm behind it, so whatever I need to do to help out and get this thing going, let's do it.
Appreciate it, Augie. Thanks for all your family's done for the community. Thank you. Good to be with you again. Have a Merry Christmas at your house and to the Griner family.
Thank you, and you have a Merry Christmas as well. You, the whole Martin family, and all the listeners out there as well. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year as well.
Thank you, Augie. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll join shortly. Tom's got a question he wants to get off. He's got a good one. We'll debate that for a minute, and we'll talk to our friend Mark Long of the Associated Press about what's ahead for Tim Tebow and what about this Gator basketball team. Coming up next right here on Buddy Sports Page. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports, from NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source. Hi, Buddy Martin along with Tom Schmitz from the Voice of Ocala. I was thinking the other day, Tom, how fortunate we are to be able to be in this community and be able to have a program every day from 3 to 6. It takes a lot to put on a show every day.
It's a lot of effort. You got to do a lot of production. You got to put a lot of show prep together. But not only that, you got to have sponsors to put a show like this on.
Well, it's a number of things it takes. Of course, it takes listeners. Also, it takes a great management team at the station. And as you say, we can't thank our sponsors enough. They make it possible for the Voice of Ocala to be heard. And I think about our original sponsors we've had on this program: Country Club of Ocala, Prestige Auto Sales, Angie Lewis State Farm.
You can't forget the ones we've added, though, buddy. Gateway Bank, Pie on Broadway, BJ Trophy and Awards.
Yeah, of course, and then there's KMS Fitness, Dr. Terry Compton. We could go on and on. We've been really blessed. The most important thing, we want you to have a very blessed holiday.
From myself, Buddy Martin, and the Voice of Ocala team, happy holidays.
If you want to avoid getting ripped off and put more money in your pocket, then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Brad from Ocala Aviation. How would you like to have someone give you $4,000? Call me.
Brad, can't end the commercial that way.
Why not?
Because you have to tell them why you're giving away $4,000.
No, I don't. It's $4,000.
Yeah, I know, but for what?
Oh, I see. You mean like tell them it's for a flight scholarship that gives young people a chance to fulfill their dreams of becoming a pilot?
Yeah, something like that.
Nah, just give them the phone number. It's $4,000.
All right. What's the phone number?
352-861-7484.
Okay, that works.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Right now, 40% of wives in the U.S. out-earn their husband. When you have an energy drink with your alcohol, it counteracts the sedating effect of the alcohol. We now know this leads some drinkers to falsely believe they're not as drunk as they really are. Once somebody makes a statement, there's tremendous pressure to avoid conflict and agree with the gossip. By disagreeing, you stop the conversation from escalating.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Do you wonder why you continue to experience pain? Is your daily routine affected by your body telling you that it hurts? Let us explain why this may be happening to you every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on the Head to Toe Care Show. This is Dr. Riyad Fakuri, board-certified chiropractic orthopedist at the Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic Center, available to serve you and answer any questions that you may have. Again, that's on the Head to Toe Care Show every Wednesday at 11 a.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Happy holidays from all of us at WOCA. WOCA.
Stars with boughs of party rocking around the Christmas tree. Have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old.
We're back on Buddy Sports Page, live from Gateway Bank Community Gazette Day. Just heard from Augie Griner talking basketball at the University of Florida, but I came up with an interesting question that I kick around, and it was put out on Facebook, and I saw it on my Facebook page, and I thought, it's a pretty good question. Well, when I ask off the air the question, I got some definitive answers right away from both Buddy and JJ, so I'm going to put it out there and ask again and try to get their understanding of it, because Facebook, you'd be very interested to see what Facebook says about it. The question was, ESPN posed on Facebook, which is it harder to do? Repeat as NCAA football champion or repeat as NFL champion? Is it easier to win a national championship back-to-back, or is it easier to win a Super Bowl back-to-back? And I'm going to tell you what Facebook says in a moment, but Buddy, what do you think? Easier to win a national championship in college football, or easier to win an NFL championship back-to-back? It's a difficult question to answer because of the variables, because there's so many more college teams. But in my opinion, the reason it's harder than the National Football League, I know it's been done a lot more than it has done in college football, is because when you win, and you win the championship, your schedule automatically gets much tougher. In college football, you play the same schedule almost every year. So, and consequently. Now, the other side of that is graduation hurts you. Right, is that you actually have turnover, which is, of course, a disadvantage, too. I think the most remarkable thing in the NFL that never is talked about is the Steelers won 4 in 6 years. They did. And no one ever talks about that, you know. Talk about the undefeated team in Miami and, of course, what have you. But to win 4 championships in 6 years is unbelievable. That will never be done again, in my opinion. So I would say, because of the fact that the schedule gets much harder and people start gunning for you, it's much harder to win in the NFL. But I'm probably going to be, most people won't agree with that. Mr. LaSalva, what's your take on that?
I would say it's just harder in the NFL based on the playoffs. You're going to have to win 3, maybe 4 games in the playoffs sometimes after a 16-game regular season. That's, I think, a lot more difficult than winning, 10 or 11 games and having the opportunity. If you're a big-time program like Alabama, it's not that difficult to get back to the national championship with the team you have. Especially, you only have 1 loss, but you can rely on people to vote you in. The NFL, you can't rely on people to vote you into the national championship. You have to win.
Good point. Well, I like to say we're going to get Mark Long on, and maybe we'll ask him, and then I'll give you the results after Mark Long call from the ESPN poll. You lose 1 game in the NFL, you still got 15 more to make the playoffs. You lose 1 game in college football, your season's over for the most part. True. I said for the most part. In history, although the SEC bias, as people will put it, has put a 1-loss and even a 2-loss team in the national championship game, it's for most teams, 1 loss does you in for the national championship, where 1 loss in the NFL, if you only lose 1 game in the NFL, odds are you're the favorite in the Super Bowl. So, but I'll give you the results of that. Maybe you can call in. Callers can call in if we got a chance. I don't know if we'll have a chance in this hour. Give us their opinion. We'll ask Mark Long that too, buddy. But it's off the air if they want to tell JJ. It's a very interesting question. Which is more difficult to repeat, college football national championship or NFL championship? And so, do we have Mark Long, JJ?
Correct.
All right, buddy, we have Mark. Yeah, let's go to the phones now and talk to Mark Long, Associated Press. First of all, Merry Christmas, and how are you doing, Mark?
Doing well, thanks, buddy. Getting all my shopping wrapped up here today and tomorrow. But, yeah, well, barring a setback, I'll be all good for come Tuesday.
Very good. Very good. Now, before we get into a couple of topics, one of them being Tim Tebow, we have this question which Tom Schmitz is asking people today. Let's get your expertise on this. You cover both the NFL and you cover college football. Tom, go ahead with the question.
Mark, Tom Schmitz here. The question is, which is it harder to repeat? Is it harder to repeat as an NCAA national football champion, or is it harder to repeat as a Super Bowl champion?
Well, I don't think there's any question Super Bowl champ. I mean, it's difficult. Both are very difficult, no doubt. But, 16 games in the NFL, injuries are such a big part because that game's played at such a different high-impact level. Injuries are such a factor. And college, if you've got a loaded team, you bring back your quarterback and you can bring back a good number of starters, I think you've got a very good chance to repeat. Now, again, no one's done it since USC, I think, in 04-05. But, certainly Alabama has a chance this year. Florida had a good chance in 09. So it happens from time to time.
What do you make of the whole Tim Tebow fiasco? I noticed today that Tony Sperano now has come to the defense of Tebow, talking about the fact that he thinks it's a combination of things that caused their failure. Says he would not use the words "didn't work" at all. Hey, I mean, it didn't work. That's like saying the Titanic stopped for ice. It was a disaster. And I know that Tim Tebow must be totally. I mean, I can't imagine a guy who was up on such a high pedestal 3 years ago now being so low. And the question becomes now: is his NFL career over?
Well, I don't think his NFL career is over. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league who get 2 and 3 chances to go other places, certainly first-round draft picks. I think somebody will give him a chance. Who that is, I don't know, but I know if the price tag is considerably cheaper, which it will be this time around, because, the bottom line is the Jets are going to probably cut him, and some team's going to be able to pick him up for nothing. They're going to have to give up a draft pick. They're not going to have to pay half of his salary to the Broncos. You're going to be able to pick this guy up for nothing. And I think he's too good of a character guy, too good of a locker room guy, too much. He brings way too much to the table for some team, one of those other 30 teams out there. We can throw out Denver and we can throw out the Jets. One of those other 30 teams out there will take a chance on Tim Tebow, probably even as a backup quarterback. I don't think his quarterback career is over. I certainly don't think his NFL career is over. I think it probably would behoove him, depending on where he lands, to potentially, to say, hey, listen, let me try tight end. Let's give it a shot. I still think he can play quarterback in the league. I don't, is it going to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? I don't think so, but he certainly can be better than Mark Sanchez or Blaine Gabbert.
There have been other slash players, obviously, in the league. Certainly Pittsburgh had one, Cordell Stewart. But Tebow's different because his speed level is not what Cordell Stewart's was. If we talk about where Tim's going to go, everybody's thinking Jacksonville. I don't know about that. Whether that's going to happen or not. But I've got a hunch on another team. Let's see if we can all pick out a team besides Jacksonville that might take Tim Tebow. I'm going to go first. I think New England and Belichick could take a chance on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one. I think, honestly, other than Jacksonville, I'd say that's the one most people pick because Belichick's got such a strong relationship with Urban Meyer, and he's got an affinity for Florida players. Having Brandon Spikes and Aaron Hernandez there certainly doesn't hurt Tim's chances.
His former coach at Denver is there?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, if anybody's going to find a role for this guy, a way to use this guy, it's going to be Bill Belichick. And let's be honest, they don't have a power running back. Stephen Ridley's had a nice little season, but he's by any means is he power, short yardage, back like that. So maybe Tim plays that wildcat role to perfection behind Tom Brady. And who knows, maybe he gets a chance, to show what he can get. He can show what he can do on the field as a quarterback. Because again, Tom Brady doesn't have this, he's not going to be around for another, 10 years. We know that.
Yeah, the question is, the jury's still out on whether the Wildcat will work in the National Football League. But to say that, I think it's a failed experiment. You look at his numbers, and he had 10 rushing first downs on 32 carries this year. they really didn't commit to it, you know?
And that's the problem. The problem is he was sold a bill of goods by the Jets, or they got this whim that they thought they were going to use him a certain way, and they just never followed through. Whatever the reasoning, you know, the bottom line is that the coaching staff never followed through, and Tim should rightfully want out of there. You know, maybe the Jets want to part, you know, are done with the experiment. Maybe that's the case too. But Tim should want out, and for obvious reasons, and nobody should question, you know, why he would want out. Because the bottom line is the guy was lied to, and unless they change general managers and head coaches in with the Jets, there's no reason for Tim Tebow to stay in New York.
Well, they got to pay him $3 million to keep you, and that's just not going to happen. Right. According to his contract. And so, any other teams there? Anybody got a team? Tom, do you have one? Do you have? If it wasn't New England and it wasn't Jacksonville, Mark, you and Tom, where do you think he most likely would be, perhaps fit in?
Well, I'll give you another one. I don't want to step on Tom's feet here, Tom's shoes, but I'll give you another one. I think San Francisco. You know, that's a head coach. It's a very good team, very good offensive line. They've got Frank Gore, who's an aging running back. And when you already have an offense in place that's going to take advantage of Colin Kaepernick with the zone read and all that stuff, that's going to be your offense going forward. You can't keep Alex Smith after what's transpired this year in San Francisco. I wouldn't be stunned if San Francisco took a run on Tim, a low-cost, you know, shot here, and see what he can do as a backup quarterback. And that might be a good role for Tim. Go out there on the West Coast. It's a new audience for him and his mission and everything, and possibly, you know, be Colin Kaepernick's backup.
Interesting. He stole my thunder. I thought the perfect fit would be the backup to Colin Kaepernick because it's the offense he's good at running, the zone read with a established running back and a great offensive line where while throwing the ball is still something that has to be done, it's not at a premium in that offense, so I think that'd be a perfect fit. Interesting.
And Seattle's going to be looking for a backup quarterback too next year because they're not going to be able to keep the former Green Bay guy they paid a ton of money to as a backup to Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Speaking of Russell Wilson, and the rookie quarterback's phenomenal this year. But I tell you what, there have been four of them just absolutely tearing it up in the NFL. The Jags are terrible. You see them up there. You deal with that situation sometimes. What in the world are they going to do? They got a mess on their hands.
Yeah, they've got a complete mess, and it's a real challenge here for new owner Shad Khan, his first year in the league, and he's at a crossroads, you know. Do you blow this thing up and get rid of the general manager and bring in a new general manager? I think that's the obvious choice. You get rid of the general manager, but then you try to bring in a new general manager. You're going to stick him with, you know, the coaching staff that's in place, you know, or do you blow the whole thing up and do you fire Mike Mularkey and his entire staff after one season? I mean, that's just pretty harsh, and it sets a tone, you know, that you're not going to, you know, that most owners may not want. You don't want to be known as the guy who doesn't give the head coach a chance. But, you know, when you've made a mistake at the general manager position and that trickles down, it's hard to change just that one aspect of your front office and leave everything else away. And again, you know, I like Mike Mularkey as a guy, former Gator, you know, player, but you know, the reality is this offense and defense in Jacksonville has taken a step back in his first year. And that's not the scenario you want or the direction you want your team to be in.
Yep. Final thoughts on basketball. Gators get an easy win over a lightweight team. Come March, don't you think Billy Donovan's team will be able to get the ball in bounds?
I only got one for you, buddy, that I haven't written. He spent 2 hours this week working on inbound plays. 2 hours, 1 day in practice, working on inbound plays. Billy Donovan knows this is a talented team, but he also knows plays like that can get you beat. Late game situations, you got to be able to get off shots. You got to be able to get the ball in bounds. You got to be able to make free throws. Absolutely key. And he knows his team's going to be playing deep into the tournament. But, you know, against good teams, those are the things you have to do. And Arizona's a good team, but those are the things you have to do to close out good teams. And they didn't get it done, and Billy Donovan's trying to fix it.
Yes. You know, the final thought is about this is, talking with Augie Griner Jr. earlier, we were saying, you know, I never thought I'd see them yearning for Irving Walker, but that's a game they could have won with Irving Walker.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, his free throw ability was unmatched late in games. I mean, that was a guy who rarely missed free throws in the clutch. And again, he wasn't the greatest guy getting off his own shot at the end of the first half, at the end of the game, but he got them off. They may have been 30-footers, but he got them off, and he made his fair share. So you're absolutely right. This team, I think the one thing we may say about them right now is they really missing that true point guard. And Scotty Wilbekin may be that guy. Maybe he develops in that guy. But, again, it's his first year in the starting lineup. He's playing with a broken finger on his right hand, his primary ball-handling hand. So, they got some issues there.
Yeah. Mark, you have a Merry Christmas with your family. Thanks very much for helping us out all year long. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you after the first of the year. And
you too. Take care, Tom.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mark. Mark Long for the Associated Press. Always a good source to go to.
You want me to, before we go to break, you want me to give you the ESPN poll, or you want to wait till we come back?
Come back and repeat the thing again for those who didn't get in their cars, and then we come back from break, we'll do that.
ESPN offered up this poll today, and I thought it was an interesting question. Which is it harder to do, repeat as an NCAA football champion or repeat as an NFL Super Bowl champion? ESPN has its totals. I'm actually very surprised by the numbers, the difference. But, Buddy, you said that you think the NFL is harder for reasons you talked about. JJ thought the NFL. Mark Long thought the NFL. I thought the NCAA football tournament, the NCAA football championship was a little harder. Maybe we'll see what Joe Williams thinks, and I'll have the results of that poll from ESPN.
Could do that. They could also add in there what's harder, that or doing a daily radio show 3 to 6.
From the Gateway Bank Community Gazette?
Every day. Actually.
From Gateway Bank is simple.
Simple. The rest of the week is hard.
Well, there you go.
All right, we will take that break right now from Gateway Bank. We will return momentarily to finish up the Voice of Ocala right here on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram, CEO of Gateway Bank, inviting you to drop by our main office on Silver Springs Boulevard every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. for the Community Gazette, a 3-hour show focusing on our favorite community to live and work, Ocala, Marion County. Come join us with the voice of Ocala, Buddy Martin, in the new old-fashioned bank radio studio as we discuss a variety of interesting topics on the Community Gazette on WOCA The Source.
Hi, I'm Buddy Martin. It's a privilege for me to be able to wish the folks in my hometown a wonderful holiday season. I've spent many Christmases here over more than a half a century and can tell you there's no place quite like Ocala this time of the year. From Light Up Ocala to the Christmas parade to the numerous charitable events in this community, Ocala fairly sparkles. But there's nothing quite like our holiday spirit. Enjoy it, revel in it, and pass it on. It's one of the greatest gifts we can give each other. Merry Christmas.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club of Ocala.
It's a family-first club. Again, we have any number of different types of memberships, but obviously the one that attracts the greatest level of interest is our family. And the reason for that is we have a little something for everybody. I mean, we obviously have a world-class golf course. We have 7 tennis courts here for all levels of tennis players. We have a junior Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fitness center that's second to none, and we have state-of-the-art equipment in our fitness center.
Country Club of Ocala, where the facilities are all a family would ever need. For more information, call today at 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of Monday's Gator Report and Gator Talk Thursday right here on The Source.
Looking for a primary care provider? Look no further, because Family Care Specialists of Bellevue is your answer. From immunizations to routine checkups for every member of the family, lab, x-ray, and diagnostic testing for heart disease are on site. Cassandra Ricci, ARNP, is accepting new patients with same or next day appointments available. Give the office a call at 245-1111. That's 245-1111. Ocala helps Family Care Specialists of Bellevue. We care for you for life, from childhood through adulthood.
What's up, Ocala?
This is Joel.
And Amanda.
With What's Up, Ocala magazine and media.
We want to invite you to come see Ocala's top fashion designers.
And models.
The New Year's Kickoff Business Expo begins at 1:30 with a never-to-forget fashion show following at 6 p.m. What's Up, Ocala will have food, live music, and vendors showcasing their new products for 2013.
Categories of fashion include dress to impress, equine, business casual, a weekend away, local designer showcases from game day dresses, and the Tutu Factory. We will be ending the show with a complete bridal transformation. This is the largest fashion show Ocala has ever seen, emceed by the one and only Kelly Hart, with performances by local and national bands.
Sponsorships and vendor booths are still available. Be sure to attend this free event and stay connected to our updates by visiting our Facebook page or downloading the What's Up app from the App Store and Android Market. It's free.
The 2013 Ocala's Choice Awards will be presented at the show. This is an event you don't want to miss.
What's up, Ocala?
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way.
We're back on Buddy Sports page live from Gateway Bank Community Gazette Day here at Gateway Bank. Rounding out the third hour, I had posed this question because I saw a post on ESPN that had posed the question, which is harder, to win back-to-back national championships in college football or to win back-to-back Super Bowl championships? The consensus between the three people since I've asked this question, Mark Long of the Associated Press, Buddy Martin, the host of this show, and J.J. LaSalva back at the board for the show, all of y'all seem to think the pro game is harder to win back-to-back because of scheduling changes and other things, having the target on your back where people are coming after you week after week. I thought college football was because you lose one game most of the time and you're out. ESPN did a poll. They had over 14,000 people respond to the poll, over 13,000, people respond to the poll. 10,473 people believe it's harder to win a football national championship in college, as opposed to 2,719 who think it's harder to win in the NFL.
Well, they know. They're all college football fans.
5-1. College is harder to win than this is not a scientific poll. I'm sure it's a fan poll completely. But the fans are saying 5-1 harder to win a college football national championship back to back.
We're experts. Fans don't know anything.
Than it is an NFL championship.
Just because the fans say so. We're the ones who know what this is.
I didn't think it would be 5-1 though. I thought it would be much closer.
This shows you how misinformed the fans are.
I thought it would be. I thought this was a question that would come about 51-49, 50-50, somewhere in there. I didn't expect it to be 80-20.
But think about it. I know, I'll tell you my source. When I wrote Terry Bradshaw's book, he talked about the enormous pressure he had on him and how hard it was to repeat, which he did twice for the Steelers, because everybody was gunning for you. The expectations are higher. The schedule gets tougher. Of course, he never won a national championship at Louisiana Tech, obviously. But he said to him it was excruciating pressure. Ask some of the players who won championships; they'll tell you it's a different game completely.
Well, that's the thing. It's we're really comparing apples and oranges, aren't we? Because it's two complete different games.
It's a great question. I just think the people who voted for it hadn't thought it through.
And I've never played pro football, so I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I just know the difficulty of back-to-back in 89 and 90, winning two national championships back-to-back, and how difficult that was.
Yep.
I know exactly how difficult that was. That was the 89 year was a fun football year. The 1990 year, I'm going to be honest with you, was no fun playing football at Georgia Southern, because you had to get everybody's A game. Everybody looked to smack you in the mouth, and all the media said was, well, you're supposed to win. It was already a foregone conclusion. We were supposed to be the national champions.
Well, I can tell you this. The coaches who coach in the National Football League that I know and have talked to, but specifically ones I've known a number of years, Mike Shanahan, Steve Spurrier, both tell me, buddy, it's so hard to win the National Football League.
On a week-to-week basis, I'm
hard
sure.
to win. So if it's hard to win week to week, why is it not harder to repeat as a national champion? That's all I'm saying.
You may have swayed me there, because that's a good point. Because I know that on any given Sunday, even a team as bad as the Colts were last year, they could beat a good football team because they're all professionals. The guy holding the clipboard as the 53rd best player on an NFL team was a star on somebody's college football team.
Speaking of games this weekend, let's go over the schedule and talk about some of the NFL games. And by the way, we're efforting. We may not be able to hook up with Joe Williams, so I think today...
Doesn't look like it.
He looks like he's going to be shopping today. I think he's out shopping for my Christmas present. So we'll probably not get him today. But, JJ, what's on tap, the most interesting games that you see there? Let's talk about some of those
Well, the
games.
game of the weekend's obviously Sunday night. Niners, Seahawks. Seahawks have turned into, arguably the best team in the NFC right now, maybe all of football. They're 9-5. Niners are 10-3. If the Seahawks win out, Niners lose the rest of the games. Obviously, the Seahawks will win the division, which is huge considering playoffs. You get home field advantage. We all remember the Seahawks 9-7 beating the Saints at home.
They were 7-9.
7-9, even worse. So that's the game of the week. But there's some interesting matches, especially NFC East, three-way tie between the Redskins, the Cowboys, and the Super Bowl defending champions, the Giants. The Redskins play the Eagles. They think RG3 probably will be back. We won't know that till Sunday. Sort of iffy subject. Let's see. The Giants play the Ravens. The Ravens have kind of fallen off the last few weeks. That's a 4 o'clock game. And the Cowboys play the Saints, who are 6-8. They sort of have a little comeback. Cowboys are 1-point favorites in that game, so it's going to be interesting. The rest of the games are putting teams that are basically already in the playoffs against weaker opponents. Packers 10-4 take on the Titans. Jets and the Chargers, no one really cares about that. Bengals, Steelers really need a win. This is a huge game. The Bengals right now are back by 1 game in the North against the Ravens. Steelers are 2 games back, 7-7. Roethlisberger's been back a couple weeks. We'll see how that goes. So there's not too many really interesting matchups, but some of the division races are what to watch this week.
Let's talk about disappointments and surprises and what have you. And getting back to that NFC East, which I think is interesting, which one of those three are going to step forward? Because, teams, I believe, with North and South this time of year. Teams go North, teams go South.
Right.
There's also the flavor of the week, which I think is what Seattle is right now.
Yeah, or Dallas.
Now, so I don't think they're. It's arguably how tough their competition is, but I will give it to them. They've been a big surprise. I'd say they probably are the biggest surprise in the NFL this year, other than the Falcons, who were picked to do well. Naturally, the biggest surprise the wrong way is the Giants. They have totally collapsed.
Right.
What has happened to Eli Manning, I do not know. This football team has fallen apart. People say, well, don't worry about it. That's Giants football. They'll get back at the end. And guess what? They're not going to get back. They're going to be, I think they're going to go, I don't think they're going to win. I think the team right there to watch is the Redskins, especially if RG3 gets back. However, having said that, the hot team may be the Cowboys.
That's what I was just about to say. That's who I think is going to win the division. They have New Orleans this week and then Washington to close out the season. Washington's got the Eagles and then the boys. And the Giants, they have the toughest schedule. They have the Ravens this week, and then they have Philadelphia to end the season. But Tony Romo's on fire right now, buddy.
Yeah, he's playing well. The defense is playing well, too. The Cowboys do. Romo, when he gets a hot hand, he can be a difficult guy to stop. Having said that, on the other side, obviously the Broncos are now, in the picture there in the AFC, stepping forward. Pittsburgh's been a major disappointment. New England certainly is the team to beat in the AFC. I think
Denver's got a better record than
I know that,
New
but I
England
think
does.
I think right now I believe I'd give the New England an edge on a neutral field, in my opinion. But it's going to be a good contest. I don't know what will come out of that. In terms of the NFC, I still like the 49ers. I've liked them all the while, and so I don't know.
The NFC is so hard to figure out.
Very hard to figure out.
It's a weird conference. AFC, I mean, you got your New England and your Denver.
I guess you have to put
basically
Atlanta in there, I suppose. Atlanta and San Francisco.
Yeah,
probably.
Atlanta's got the best record in the league, but everyone overlooks them because of what they always do in the playoffs. But they did beat the defending Super Bowl champions 34-0 last week.
Let's be honest, though, and this is Atlanta Falcons fan talking. How much stock do you really put into that? Because that was really a payback game. They had a lot going. They had them at home. They were going to pay them back for that 34-2 beatdown they took last season and everything. I believe the energy and I don't know if I put so much stock in Atlanta being that much better than New York. I just think for that one game, Atlanta had to shake the demons of that rear-end whipping they took in the playoffs from New York the year before. I don't know that that's a precedent that Atlanta's there. That Atlanta's
to stay
there to just beat the brakes off of everybody.
Yeah, they are still 12-2. That's very tough to do. They're 7-0 at home, which is, you're 12-2. You're going to have home field advantage pretty much throughout the whole playoffs. If you're 7-0 at home, I mean that looks good for them.
That does look good. When we come back from break, there's 3 records, buddy, in the NFL that look like they're in danger of being broken. I want to ask you what you think the chances are, and should one of them even be considered a record?
We can do that. I do want to say, I think, however, the best tweet I saw on the Giants game, a loss to the Falcons, was, what is it with the dome? Both the Manning brothers got beat there.
Yeah, they can't. They can't play. Both of them can't play.
Well, of course, Peyton played the dome his whole career before that, but not this one. So
he threw 4 interceptions. Eli threw 3 interceptions.
Both had horrible games there in Atlanta. All right, we will take a break, return, and we'll answer those questions as Tom mentioned right here on Buddy Sports Page,
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
Tired of the same old eggs, bacon, and toast breakfast? Is your lunch options drab and boring? There is an alternative for you that combines a great breakfast and a great lunch. Pie on Broadway's Brunch on Broadway provides an enjoyable alternative to the same old meal options. Come enjoy a frittata or flatbread pizza. You can try a huevos rancheros or chicken and waffles. There are many unique menu options at Pie on Broadway. You can also enjoy a complete bar selection as well as fine craft beer options. So remember, try the alternative to that boring breakfast and lunch with Brunch on Broadway at Pie on Broadway every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. But if you can't make it on Saturdays, Pie is open all week with a fine menu selection as well. So remember, if you're looking for an alternative to that boring breakfast or lunch, Brunch on Broadway Saturday at Pie on Broadway beginning at 10 a.m. We'll see you there at Pie on Broadway.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, it's the Christmas Eve special, and we have a special guest coming in. He is Robert Stenterford Sr., and he's a songwriter from Ocala. He's written a song called Santa's on His Sleigh again, and we'll play it for you and hear his story.
Open for debate, where both sides of one issue will be discussed.
And then attorney Eric Lieberman will be with us. He's with the Regulatory Council for the Food Marketing Institute. He's going to tell us how part of the Obamacare regulations will force grocery stores to put up calorie menu boards.
Denise Burrito is a political junkie and the founder of Relationships Matter Now. She's written a book called From Here to There, 5 Steps to Doing Your Life's Work Every Day.
And then it's Auto Repair with Personal Care with your host, Matt Gibbs, owner of Sunrise Automotive.
Dee Taylor is a cable television show host and a Bible teacher. She's written a book called A Walk to the Other Side. You can know what dying will be like.
Artist David Bowman will be with us. He's a Christian artist and a caricaturist, and he's going to talk to us about his art series titled Expressions of Christ, all on the Christmas Eve special right here on The Source, WOC.
Hi, this is Brad from Ocala Aviation. How would you like to have someone give you $4,000? Call me.
Brad, can't end the commercial that way.
Why not?
Because you have to tell them why you're giving away $4,000.
No, I don't. It's $4,000.
Yeah, I know, but for what?
Oh, I see. You mean like tell them it's for a flight scholarship that gives young people a chance to fulfill their dreams of becoming a pilot?
Yeah, something like that.
Nah, just give them the phone number. It's $4,000.
All right. What's the phone number?
352-861-7484.
Okay, that works.
When I started thinking about this year's Christmas greeting, I wanted to make it something meaningful. So here is my heartfelt wish for us all. Good health, prosperity, and the peace to be happy, whatever our circumstances. Remember the reason for the season. Merry Christmas.
Hi, I'm Fran Darkington. When I need news, I pass the rest and tune to the source, WOCA.
Jingle bell rock, jingle bell time, and jingle bell time, dancing and prancing.
All right, welcome back to the program. Tom, you posed a question before we went to break regarding the records. You want to go with those and let the experts like JJ and I, who are a lot smarter than those 10,000 people who voted saying that the college football championship is harder to repeat on than the NFL.
Well, there are 3 records that are in jeopardy of being broken in 2012. One is Calvin Johnson is chasing Jerry Rice's receiving yardage record of 1,848 yards. He's got 1,667, so he's within less than 200 yards with 2 games ago. Adrian Peterson needs just 294 yards to break Eric Dickerson's 2,105-yard mark. And both Alden Smith and J.J. Watt sit at 19.5 sacks, 3 away from Michael Strahan's benchmark of 22.5. Now let's throw one out right away, sacks. Because that got started with Reggie White when he was sacking people and everything. Who knows how many sacks Deacon Jones had back in the day with the Rams defense. Deacon Jones was the most fearsome man on the defensive line. You know, so.
And remember Strahan's record-breaking sack?
Yeah, Brett Favre fell down. So let's throw that one out. So let's look at Calvin Johnson. Is it a foregone conclusion he's going to break Jerry Rice's record?
Yes.
He's less than 200 yards away.
Matthew Stafford gets hurt.
Yeah, let Matthew Stafford get hurt. So then that brings us to the Adrian Peterson. Needs 294 yards to go to break Eric Dixon. He's running against Houston this weekend, the number 5 ranked rushing defense in the league. He goes against division rival Green Bay the last weekend of the season, the 14th best rushing defense in the league. He needs almost 300 yards to get it, but I think it's a bogus record anyway because Eric Dickerson did it in 16 games, and whether you like O.J. Simpson or not, he got 2,003 yards in 14 games. So,
and Jim Brown got a lot in 12. So
right, exactly.
And had Jim Brown played 16, he may who knows?
He may have got 3,000.
Who knows? I would say the one I would respect the most, because look, they throw the football so much more today than they used to.
Right.
I would respect the rushing record. Even though the point's well taken. The reason was because Adrian Peterson's remarkable to come back
with his knee and everything
because of the personal side. Which record? I don't know. I would take either rushing or passing.
JJ, 30 seconds. What's your take?
I like the rush. I don't think he's going to break the record, but I think it'll be awesome. Calvin, that's easy. He's definitely going to get 100 yards the next 2 games.
Jerry Rice thinks that Calvin Johnson will break his record, but will not break that. Adrian Peterson won't break the rushing record. I've seen him say that today. So
Houston's got a tough D this week.
Number 5 rushing defense in the league. That's what he's going up against.
It'll be a good game to watch. We have some decent
Is he
games.
comeback player of the year? Yes or no? Quick. Adrian Peterson.
I don't know. Peyton may get that too. I don't know.
I would say yes. I would say yes, just because we saw the injury happen to Peterson. You know, the neck thing was always sort of weird with everyone.
By the way, that Sunday night game, I guess, is San Francisco and Seattle. That's going to be the game of the weekend.
Right.
So, all right, we'll wrap it up. We'll say thanks to everybody. First of all, our host, Tom Ingram, who was on the show earlier. Appreciate him. Also, Mayor Randy Ewers, former mayor, dropping by to talk about the Nutcracker. Augie Griner Jr.,